what Alex does is he pushes these conspiracy theories, these ideas that illegal aliens were voting. There's no evidence of that.
They're not voting in elections. Oh my God, that's a conspiracy theory.
I think what the illegal alien voting thing is what's happening is they're coming in and then they're being counted in the census, which then adds more electoral votes.
Okay.
It gives more congressional districts.
That's fair. That might be happening. I haven't researched
There are indictments all over the country.
They're not
There are indictments of illegals everywhere voting. Got them again. Hit them hard. Hit them
They're
hard.
not voting.
They're not
Alex,
voting.
that's a conspiracy theory.
Like two people?
Oh, no,
maybe
a
five?
bunch of cities have passed laws where illegal aliens can vote.
No, they haven't.
No,
Not in the federal election.
No, but the illegals are voting in elections, though?
3 seconds later. Okay, all right. Maybe they're voting like a little bit, but like not in federal election.
Not in the federal ones. So I know that some cities try to have them voting in like local matters. I don't know how many of those are successful.
Illegal aliens shouldn't be voting, okay? But they're not. They're not voting in federal elections.
Get 'em.
I don't know why you would
They
care,
are
though. Why
not.
would you even
That's a
care?
conspiracy
I don't know why
theory,
you would
Alex. Come
care
on.
about
There are going to be 100 million views of you guys. X is going to eat you guys
I'm
alive.
glad. I can't wait for it.
All rise. 459 District Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Maya Gamble presiding.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Your Honor.
So this is day 2 of the Texas trial. It's basically just Daria getting harassed for 5 hours straight. But the day starts off with the judge bringing the jury into the courtroom, even though the witness, Daria, wasn't present yet.
Well, I apologize to my jury. I thought we were ready. I had sent my staff to ask and was not informed that we weren't ready. So I'm sorry that you were brought out here too late.
There was some kind of parking issue, which has been mentioned as a regular problem for this courthouse.
I am counting this time against the shortness. All right, well, she is almost 13 minutes late. I think I'm going to let the jury go back where they can relax, and I'm going to work on other cases. So we'll be back in a little bit.
And now this wrap is skin. You know, I only have the ones yesterday.
Mark, do you want Daria sitting up there? Might as well. Listen to what you want.
All rise. 459 District Court is now in session.
Back in session. All right, you may be seated. Thank you. Ms. Karpova, you're still under oath. We're going to just pick up right where we left off yesterday, all right? Same instructions as before. And whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Little Mark spent a long time recapping everything that he asked her the previous day, so I'm skipping all of it and going straight to the first video.
Major universities he's consulted for. I mean, he's a top consultant. Long career as a state police officer in Miami, Florida. If you're just joining us, then in customs, and then he got into being an educator and then security. And he's looking at it and dissecting it like everybody else did. I mean, folks, we've got video of Anderson Cooper with clear blue screen out there. He's not there in the town square. We've got people clearly coming up and laughing and then doing the fake crying. We've clearly got people where it's actors playing different parts of different people. The building bulldoze, covering up everything. Adam Lanza trying to get guns 5 times, we're told. The witnesses, not saying it was him. People out in the woods. But we've got the investigator here, Wolfgang W. Albig. I'm going to give you the floor, sir. Go over your 16 points, the problems, the issues, and break down what you believe is a total hoax. I've looked at it, and undoubtedly there's a cover-up, there's actors, they're manipulating, they've been caught lying, and they were pre-planning before it and rolled out with it. So clearly, I agree with you that something's rotten under the floorboards, but is it a possum or is it a human? Well, regardless, they're not letting a good crisis go to waste, but you're the expert. Break it down for us.
You heard Mr. Jones in that video refer to Mr. Halbig as a top consultant, correct?
Yes, that's what how they claimed to be.
That's what he claimed to be, right?
Yes. We didn't have any reason to doubt it at that time.
Really? The truth is, though, it doesn't matter, because according to you, as an InfoWars producer, you do not believe you're responsible for verifying all the claims of your guests. That's true?
I would say it's in part my responsibility.
Okay. Do you remember?
And I do that as in my job.
Do you remember
to the best of my ability. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'll give you some time. I would like to show you that question and answer from your deposition, which is different from this. I'm sure Wolfgang Halbig has said a lot of things about his credentials. Do you think they're all true? Do you think Wolfgang Halbig is a reliable source about his own credentials? What was your answer?
I'm not responsible for making sure that the claims of our guests are all accurate.
Thank you.
This is nothing more than semantics. Her answer is worded differently this time, but means the exact same thing. She is indeed testifying that not all claims made by guests are her responsibility to fact-check, which also could mean that some of them are. This is just another deceitful tactic lawyers use to dress someone up as a liar in front of the jury, which means he's relying on the jury to be stupid enough to buy it, and it turns out they were.
I'm going to interrupt one more time just to give the jury another instruction about depositions, which is what was just read from, in case you aren't familiar with them. A deposition is a procedure conducted out of court in which a witness testifies under oath, answering questions asked by one or more attorneys.
But look, let's say you got 3 minutes in a nutshell of what's going on here to the lay person out there as a school safety expert, renowned nationally, Mr. Halbig, of what really happened here, and what would you say to that school board?
Well, the first thing I got to say before I get to that is that thank God I've had 67 great years of great life. I got a beautiful family. You know, I mean, I'm getting threats all the time. I got some crazy people out there. You know, they're attacking my wife, they're attacking me, and everything else. But you know what? All they have to do is answer 16 simple questions. You and I wouldn't even be talking today. It's unheard of, okay? And I think the school board members and the superintendent, they have a responsibility of telling the truth. Alex, I cannot believe that a public school system, and you know, when you look at the school itself, when you look at Sandy Hook, it is a filthy school. That's what I wanted to talk to the board members about. It is a toxic waste dump. When you look at the data, and here's what they didn't realize, they put it in their own newspaper before they demolished it. Sandy Hook had the highest level of lead paint throughout the entire school. Sandy Hook had the highest level of asbestos in the ceiling tiles and the ceiling floors. It had the highest level of PCP, and the groundwater is contaminated. Now, here's the question. Connecticut law requires that every parent must be notified of those hazardous chemicals because they have serious health effects on children, which may not be seen until 5 years later. Now, why would any parent, why would those 18 of the 20 parents that moved into Newtown in 2009 enroll their child in a school with all those hazardous chemicals? Their parents just don't do that. They don't expose their little children to chemical hazards.
Let me just stop you. As an investigator, kind of like they got Al Capone for tax evasion, not for all the murders or money laundering, you're looking at how they don't do any of the standard stuff, the paperwork, the police reports, no helicopters sent, no rescue, kids going in circles, totally staged, men with guns in the woods getting grabbed, no names released. They deny it went on, later have to admit it went on, but say we're not answering questions. I mean, clearly it's a drill, just like the Boston bombing. I don't know exactly what's going on, but the official story isn't true. And again, I've read a lot of criminology. I'm not a cop, but I've studied a lot of it. And just from a lay media investigative journalist perspective, something is rotten here. And then you see it duplicated over and over again. What's your bottom line? What do you think really happened at Sandy Hook? People can see your 16 questions at sandyhookjustice.com. And we just salute your will to go up there and have 8 police cars block you the United Way and have them shut you down at the school board, at the commission. But bottom line, what do you as a almost 40-year investigator, police officer, you name it, what do you think's happening here?
Well, until they answer those questions, I can tell you children did not die. Teachers did not die on December 14th, 2012.
None of the questions following the video were really helpful because Daria wasn't even working for InfoWars yet. So we're moving on once again because I've listened to this testimony 3 times and I can't for the life of me figure out why he spent so much time grilling this woman. She simply doesn't know because she wasn't there at the time.
Well, according to FBI crime statistics at FBI.gov, no one died in 2012 in Sandy Hook. It shows no homicides in that town. And that story by Don Salazar is online at Infowars.com. We'll put that on screen, show some screenshots of those statistics for TV viewers. Again, radio listeners can go there and pull that up for themselves.
All right, once again, we're hearing about this story about how the FBI said nobody died at Sandy Hook, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that also, that'd be pretty shocking if it was true, wouldn't it?
Yes, very.
Might be the kind of thing you'd want to verify with the FBI, isn't it?
No. What the hell are you talking about, Junior? Are you out of your fucking mind, or what?
Well, Alex was relying on the writers that he just mentioned in the video, and Alex lets the writers do their own research and post a story, and he doesn't really control what they write.
And that wasn't verified with the FBI, was it?
I don't know if the writer verified it or not.
Okay. Well, maybe ask him.
I've got a cousin in Black Ops, and he said, your show is absolutely accurate. Our orders come from the State Department, not even from the Pentagon. And so I knew it stunk. I mean, why would Anderson Cooper turn and be a green screen and his nose disappear? Why would they have kids going in and coming out clearly staged? I just didn't, early on I said, well, they had to have killed somebody. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Then parents come out and start laughing and then turn to the camera and cry. I mean, this stinks to high heaven. This is what you do. Tell us why you question up front, recapping for new listeners, and then get into, I know you went back and visited recently, and tell us what happened.
Well, the big thing that we found is we actually found the only footage, live footage, shot by a helicopter. It's the only footage, Alex, that has a timestamp on it. When you see the people chasing each other in the woods, remember, that's what CNN really did. They try to hook everybody, and they're showing these people running into the woods, because guess what they announced? That a teacher just reported seeing two shadows running by the gym. Well, Alex, that footage was not shot till 12:23 in the afternoon. Now, why would you chase somebody in the woods after lunch? The school was safe and secure by 10:35. These are all scripted events. These were events that were specially shot, filmed, choreographed for CNN to have fun with it.
Absolutely, and we caught him on the blue screen.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Junior. You know just how I like it.
Ms. Karpova, in this video, they talk about this helicopter footage of some people being detained in the woods.
Correct.
And that it was taken at 12:23 hours after the shooting?
Correct.
Okay, the company now understands that's reporters that were trying to get too close to the school?
Correct.
Understands that was fully documented in the final report?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is a live show. Wolfgang was a guest, and it just spur of the moment, they didn't pre-plan. It's not the beauty of Alex Jones show is that it is not a scripted show, so whatever the guest says is what you get. And this is why people actually tune in to Alex Jones versus CNN.
Okay, and you described that as beautiful.
It's one of this. It's the genuineness of the broadcast and Alex presenting what he believes at that time is what people are attracted to. He's not lying about what he's saying.
Now you will agree with me that over the next few years, that Mr. Jones, despite knowing from Wolfgang Halbig that video was taken hours after the shooting at 12:24, that Mr. Jones has repeatedly claimed that video depicts second shooters dressed in SWAT gear being detained in the woods. You understand that?
I don't know if he knew that was a false video, and again, because it's comprised of Sandy Hook, comprises of very little of his attention. I don't know how much, I don't know. I don't know if he, I know for a fact that he wasn't lying when he was presenting that video. If he remembered it wrong, that's another story, and again, I don't know.
You would agree with me that around this time, anyway, the term crisis actor was frequently being used inside of InfoWars attached to this event.
Yes.
Okay. This article was entitled Internet Censors Viral Sandy Hook Truth Documentary. That's right?
Correct.
And the date we see on there is December 9th, 2014. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, let's pull up the first 3 paragraphs of this article. I'm going to read this to you, okay? It states, last Monday, an organization known as the Independent Media Solidarity released an epic documentary entitled We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook, which they hosted on their own site as well as YouTube. Within hours of the video's upload, it was well on its way to going viral. However, its success was short-lived. Shortly after InfoWars began hosting the video, the following Tuesday morning, it was suddenly removed from YouTube due to a copyright claim by Lenny Posner. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you'll see in these articles, there are advertisements for the supplements that we've been talking about in this trial, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So basically, there had been some group of people who were trying to investigate Sandy Hook, and they had published a documentary which had been quickly banned, and InfoWars decided it would distribute it using its platform. That's right?
Correct, as we stand against censorship, and this is the point of the article, is trying to say that as soon as InfoWars posted it, it got removed.
Because InfoWars believes it should be able to publish false facts about anyone with no consequence, correct?
False.
Around this time, I'm drawing your attention basically to December 2014, which is right around the 2nd anniversary of the shooting. By this time, people had been contacting InfoWars and warning them that what they were doing as a concern with Sandy Hook was very bad. You would agree with that?
I can't agree with that specific statement.
I am going to bring you what I've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 57. I'm going to read this to you, okay?
Yes.
This is sent to InfoWars whistleblowers at Infowars.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. This message reads, to whom it may concern, I'm a writer whose articles have been featured on your website, Infowars.com. I now primarily write for American Free Press. However, what I am writing to you now is not on their behalf. I know Lenny Posner personally. Mr. Posner's son was brutally murdered on 12/14/2012. I have met with this man and have seen verified documents that are indisputable proof that his son was murdered. I have also seen the email exchanges between himself and your staff. You told Mr. Posner that Alex Jones acknowledged that children died and dismissed the idea of a hoax. Now you are promoting the hoax mythology and entertaining individuals I can prove are frauds and child predators. I must warn you that you are traveling down a road that will ultimately lead to serious lawful consequences. Those you have placed your faith in are providing you with information that is verifiably false, and your ignorance to this fact is no excuse against your complicity. Think about what you are doing. You are willing, participating, and facilitating in the defamation and libel of a man whose young child was brutally murdered, and doing so at a time which we are approaching the 2nd anniversary of this horrendous act. Think about that for a moment. I will do all in my power to assist Mr. Posner and other victims of these deranged individuals who they have fallen prey to. To that end, I would ask that I be allowed to appear on your program and set the record straight on so much disinformation that is being spread about the SHES massacre. Please make the wise decision. I read that correctly?
Yes.
All right, let's go up to the next email. All right, this email's from Rob Dew. Is that right?
Yes.
Who we agreed is a high production employee at InfoWars at that time.
At that time.
Okay. He says, Keith, can you be more specific of who you are referring to being frauds and child predators? You are warning us about talking about something and you work for the American Free Press? Are we only allowed to talk about topics you approve? If you undisputed proof about Sandy Hook, I would love to put it on our show. Threatening our organization to appear on the show is not the way to do it. Censorship is news, and people and organizations in Newtown have singled out a single video when there are millions of videos about the Sandy Hook incident. I never discount our government on the ability to murder, But when the act is pinned on a feeble kid carrying pounds of ammunition, firearms, and there is not one shred of video evidence that this person was inside or in front of the school, which has just upgraded its video surveillance system, then it's our duty to ask questions. When those who ask questions are attacked and their questions ignored, that only increases the likelihood of a cover-up. Why is Sandy Hook the only event we are not allowed to question? We can have you on Friday for the nightly news. We shoot interviews via video Skype. Thanks, Rob Dew. I read that right?
You read the words right, but the tone you inflict on it, it just supposes that he's being snarky or some kind of condescending to this person, but he isn't at all.
Okay.
I can read you the email in Rob Dew's voice if you'd like me.
I don't need you to do a Rob Dew impersonation.
So I just want to say that Rob Dew is the kind of guy who doesn't take any shit, but he's also quite mild-mannered and logical. There is a reason these sneaky personal injury lawyers didn't bring Rob Dew into the courtroom. It's a lot easier for them to hold Daria to the flames. No offense, Daria, but these guys are pretty good at covering everything in bullshit.
Rob says, Keith Johnson says to Rob, Rob, thank you for your reply. I would love to be on the show Friday night, but I cannot have Skype. I live in rural area of Tennessee, must rely on HughesNet satellite, which causes a delay. If calling in by phone is not acceptable, I can try and make arrangements with a friend to use their Skype. Now, concerning some of the points you raised. For one thing, the security system was not upgraded in 2012. It was upgraded earlier than that, and I have proof. The letter referring to the upgrade was on the school website, but originally written in 2010. The video camera in use at the time had no recording feature. Adam Lanza was more than capable of carrying out the attacks, and I can explain why on your show. I also wrote an article recently with my interview with a prominent clinical psychologist on Asperger's and what impact it would have on Lanza's ability to carry out the attacks. Frauds? You were promoting Wolfgang Halbig, a man with less than a year of law enforcement as a ticket-writing Florida highway patrolman in 1974 and a 3.3-hour online certificate with NIMS. He claims to have been a homicide detective and a consultant on Columbine. Both claims are false, and I can prove it. I have documented multiple lies this man told. In addition, I have exposed the intentional manufacturing of evidence by Sandy Hook conspiracy theorists and have indisputable and documented proof of their frauds. Child predators? The dictionary definition of a predator, a person or group that ruthlessly exploits others. What else would you call those seeking to hunt down the children who sang at the 2013 Super Bowl and stalks children at playgrounds in Newtown and plots ways to exhume the bodies of dead children? I have further information on that I can also share. Let's talk about censorship. Censorship is a function of government, not private industry. The videos were taken down were done so after the complaints of copyright holders of photos and music were filed. As far as questions not being answered, those questions have been answered, especially Wolfgang Halbig's notorious 16 questions. Myself and Sandy Hook researcher CWA have both answered those questions. I will follow up this email with more information in the next few hours, but I wanted to get something out before the night expires. I have a few chores to attend to in the meantime. Thanks for your timely reply. Talk soon. Sincerely, Keith Johnson. I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, InfoWars did eventually have Mr. Johnson on the show, right?
Correct.
Had him there to do a debate with Wolfgang, didn't they?
That's what I recall.
And Mr. Johnson tried to explain on InfoWars why Wolfgang was wrong, didn't he?
I can't recall the specific details of the video again.
Well, in any case, after that episode, InfoWars ultimately sided with Wolfgang, kept having him on the show and repeating the things he was saying, right?
Are you referring to a specific video of Wolfgang?
I'm asking you, Ms.
After
Karpova.
this debate?
Sure, I'm asking you, Ms. Karpova. After 2014, Wolfgang Halbig was on the show repeatedly throughout the next year, and InfoWars kept repeating his claims repeatedly until 2017, 2018. Can you agree with that?
Are those the videos that you have here on the list?
Let's stop for just 1 second. Ms. Karpova, I'm approaching you with the notice that was given to you for the things you were to be prepared on to testify in this case, okay?
I would object at the deposition.
Sure, in her role as a corporate representative to provide testimony as a corporate representative, okay? I would like you, do you remember seeing this notice?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see how it has the topics at the bottom?
Yes.
What's the number one topic?
Sourcing and research for the videos described in plaintiff's petitions.
After the preparation, I can take it. After the preparation that you had done, are you telling me right now that you cannot tell me if after 2015, InfoWars was still hosting Wolfgang Halbig and repeating the things he was saying? Are you not prepared to testify to that?
Again, I'm not sure the videos you're referring to. There are a lot of videos that InfoWars produces.
They're in front of you.
Okay, so these are the videos you're talking about.
Well, certainly a lot of those happened after 2015, didn't they?
Okay, but you're referring to specifically Wolfgang Halbig being in those videos, and I can't remember specifically.
Why don't you
those
take a look?
instances. Okay.
Take a look at the videos in 2015 for me. Is Wolfgang Halbig in any of those videos, do you think?
Okay, so there are a total of 10 videos in the year 2015.
And looking at those titles, you can tell me right now, Mr. Halbig was in some of those. I mean, we're going to watch them in a minute.
Sure, let's watch them.
Okay, we're going to do that. Let's do that. That's probably just easier. We'll just see Wolfgang Halbig. Around this time, at the end of 2014, InfoWars, in its corporate files, had information showing that Wolfgang Halbig was harassing parents. You agree with that?
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
In 2014, at the conclusion of that year, by that point, InfoWars had documents in its corporate files establishing the fact that Wolfgang Halbig was harassing parents. You agree with that?
I would just need to see the documents you're referring to, please.
I'm going to object. This is not a corporate file.
Let's lay some foundation for that. Ms. Karpova, I'm going to show you this. Now, Ms. Karpova, the first question I want to ask you is, do you see down at the bottom, it has a series of numbers on it?
Yes.
Correct? And those numbers say FSSTX-0395550. Correct?
It does say that.
Now, you know from dealing with the discovery in this case that what that is a stamp that InfoWars put on the documents that it gave to the plaintiff. You understand that?
I assume so.
You also, we discussed this document in deposition, right?
If you give me a second to go over...
Sure, why don't you go ahead and read the
refresh.
email just really quick to see if you remember us talking about it in deposition.
Yes, I remember.
You remember discussing this email, right?
Yes.
And you remember how we discussed how this email came out of InfoWars corporate files. This resides in InfoWars corporate files.
Objection. Corporate files? That's vague, Your Honor. I object to it as vague. Corporate files.
Well, I'm going to overrule it. She can answer the question if she knows the answer.
Yeah, so the corporate, I'm not sure where the corporate files came from, and I surely for sure don't know if Alex had seen this email.
Okay,
or any
the
of the stuff I've
question,
seen.
you need to focus on what the question please don't interrupt me. You need to focus on the question you're asked, not just what you feel like saying. And the question, you remember how we discussed how this email came out of InfoWars corporate files. This resides in InfoWars corporate files. That was the question.
Correct, and I'm sorry, I just can't truthfully answer as to the nature of corporate files. Sorry about that.
I don't want your apologies. I want you to have prepared the way I ordered you to prepare months and months ago. And I want you to answer the questions that are asked to you truthfully. So if the answer is yes, if the answer is no, if the answer is I don't know, I just want the answer.
What a cold, angry bitch.
I object to that instruction. Ms. Karpova is not here as a corporate representative. She's here as an individual.
She's being questioned about her deposition testimony when she was a corporate representative. That's what this question referred to.
I understand. I
So
think she doesn't
did-
understand what corporate files means. Perhaps
She didn't
Mr.
say
Ben-
that. She said correct. I think we can move on. The answer was correct. That's the answer we got.
Your Honor.
Like I said, they could have gotten Rob, who could have answered more questions, but the problem is they don't really want correct answers. They want Daria to perceive the information she already knows in a different way. But she's an audio engineer, man. It's just not what she's designed for.
You see how this is from Wolfgang Halbig, correct?
So, this is an unhinged email from Wolfgang Halbig to one of the parents. It's pretty disgusting. It also has absolutely nothing to do with InfoWars, other than the fact that it was found in their corporate files. It means nothing to this case, and never should have been allowed, since Halbig never worked for InfoWars. This email is on him. So moving on, man.
Yeah, when you're trying to decipher cloak and dagger dirty tricks, it's pretty hard to do. It's just that when you learn that they were funded by Western funding, then you learn that it was the same Amaral Lockheed Connection underwear bomber. Then those are big red flags that they were patsy provocateurs. The classic MO has been followed. And then, yeah, it kind of becomes a red herring, to say the whole thing was staged. Because they have staged events before, but then you learn the school had been closed and reopened, and you got video of the kids going in circles in and out of the building, and they don't call the rescue choppers for 2 hours, and then they tear the building down and seal it, and they get caught using blue screens, and a email by Bloomberg comes out in the lawsuit where he's telling his people, get ready in the next 24 hours to capitalize on a shooting. So Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. I knew they had actors there, clearly, but I thought they killed some real kids. And it just shows how bold they are, that they clearly used actors. I mean, they even ended up using photos of kids killed in mass shootings here in a fake mass shooting in Turkey. So, yeah, or Pakistan. The sky is now the limit. I appreciate your call.
Freeze it for me, please. Leave it right there. Okay, the first thing I want to ask you about, you hear about the Pakistan thing?
Yes.
Does that refresh you at all what I'm talking about?
It's been a while since I've heard about that.
Right, so in other words, when you were preparing in this case for these videos, that wasn't something you were heard about. It's been a while since you've heard about it.
Well, the sourcing, I was tasked to prepare with the sourcing of videos, and the source in this case was Alex Jones's mind, because there wasn't anything that was prepared as an article before the show. I don't believe so, that it was a document that he was reading, but something from his mind, from his own research. And
right, so as far as this thing about Pakistan and the sources of that.
Your Honor, I would object under CPLR 3111 to evidence that doesn't go to compensatory damages. It's the section that says that we need to bifurcate the evidence that deals with punitive damages.
Right.
And the
No,
evidence
but where are you? What rule are you putting me into? What do you want me to look at?
the Civil Practice and Remedies Code.
Oh, I thought you said LR, and I was like, what is that? I have like 30 books. I don't have them all memorized. All right, where do you want me to look?
Civil Practice and Remedies Code, Section 31.
31, thank you. Which part?
Subpoint 11.
31.11? 31.011?
Yes, hold on.
Is that new? My book doesn't have that.
Well, I will get it for Your Honor.
I have a 31.10, 010, and that's it. It stops there.
My objection, Your Honor, maybe this will make it easier, is that this evidence that is being elicited does not go to the issue of compensatory actual damages for the plaintiff. It is evidence that is solely designed to go to punitive damages and to attack the character and the reprehensibility of the conduct, and therefore shouldn't be admitted at this point when we're supposed to be dealing with compensatory.
Overruled.
Yes, overruled, even though I am completely unaware of the law you just cited.
Your Honor, I would just request that we can maybe limit objections to evidentiary basis and not long speaking.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Karpova, we had seen in some of the last videos a tagline on the top of the screen that said the front line of truth journalism. But we see a different tagline on the top of this screen, right?
Yes.
And that says Infowars.com because there is a war on for your mind. That's right?
That's been an InfoWars slogan.
In this video that we just watched, do you recall him saying that there was an email from Michael Bloomberg telling his people, get ready in the next 24 hours to capitalize on a shooting. Do you remember hearing that?
Said something along those lines.
Yeah, and that basically saying that Michael Bloomberg knew 24 hours before Sandy Hook that they were going to stage an event, right?
I'm not sure exactly what Alex meant by that.
That's not something you can testify to today.
I'm not sure, sir. I don't.
You would agree with me, it's pretty ridiculous to think that former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, had an email that he sent out to his gun groups, his gun control groups. You would
Objection,
agree,
argumentative.
Overruled.
you would agree with me, it is ridiculous that former mayor Michael Bloomberg sent out an email to his gun groups telling them all, get ready in the next 24 hours to capitalize on a mass shooting. That is ridiculous. You agree with that?
I can't agree with that specific statement, sir.
Okay. At the end, Mr. Jones references that false mass shooting in Pakistan. You know that's about Noah Posner, right?
Oh, correct.
Okay. Mr. Posner complained about that, right? To you two?
You're referring to...
You're going to have to speak up a little bit.
Are you referring to a specific document?
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, do you know Mr. Posner complained about that story to you two? Do you know that?
You can object again, Your Honor, under the Civil Practice and Remedies Code, Chapter 41.
I'll look, but your objection is the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah, overruled.
Thank
May
you.
I have a running objection, Your Honor?
You may.
Do you remember one of the videos you were supposed to get prepared for was on February 12, 2015?
It says title unknown.
That's correct. Because you didn't give us this video, right? We had to go find it. And we don't know its title. Did you understand that?
That's what I assume.
Yeah, we got lucky and we found it. And I want to play a clip for this video for you now. This is something you reviewed for your preparation, correct?
Will you show it to me to refresh my memory?
Well, let's ask you this. Are you now telling me that there are videos in the plaintiff's petition that despite the court's instruction you did not review?
I just don't remember which videos I reviewed and which were available to me to review.
Okay, well, if it's on that list, you should have reviewed it, right?
Again, sir, videos that were available to me, I did review.
Okay. Can you tell me if the videos that were available to you, that were made available to you, are all the videos in plaintiff's petition? Do you know that?
Are you referring to all these videos?
Well, I'm asking what you prepared on, Ms. Karkova. I'm having a hard time understanding what exactly you prepared on.
Maybe it's because you're stupid.
Do you know if the videos that were provided to you by whoever provided them to you to get prepared, were they all the videos in plaintiff's petition? Did you do anything to verify that?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. Well, I'd like to play you a clip from this video. And I assume you've seen it and prepared on it, but we're going to play it, okay? And we're going to play right now from February 12th, 2015. As we stated, the title's unknown. But we're going to play clip 14C.
Do I know the whole story? No, I don't know the whole story. But am I being lied to? Absolutely, I'm being lied to. Absolutely. And then my reporters simply say, look, here's the BBC and the London Telegraph and the Pakistani TV all showing this guy's reportedly dead son. May he rest in peace. We're sorry for that. And then this group comes and says that we violated their copyright and then claim Fox News. So they're using a Fox News ID to trigger the suspension of the Alex Jones channel. That if they're successful, they will shut down videos, thousands of videos and reports, and millions of dollars of work. Okay, let's go to the About page on the Alex Jones channel, one of many channels we have. And by the way, they're all linked together, so they take one down, they take them all down.
Mr. Jones' concern was that complaints from the parents could potentially shut down the company's YouTube channel, right?
One of the concerns in this video.
Correct. That's in the clip we just saw.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to play for you now clip 14D.
And I take these attacks as an opportunity. And this is just one that I'm mentioning. I mean, look at this fraudulently filed copyright claim. And it may not even be this group. It may be someone else fraudulently doing it in their name. Because I don't want to just sit here and say things about people. I want to be careful about it. But imagine, our website would be shut down. It says, photo of child killed at Sandy Hook shows of a Pakistan school shooting. I mean, we're not even saying in that headline that children weren't killed. we get criticized for trying to be open about this because we can't prove it one way or the other. So they take down our video, photo of child killed at Sandy Hook, shows the Pakistan school shooting. David Knight shows, we're going to show the video next hour, play it. BBC articles and BBC news stills and different rallies showing this guy's son, Lenny Posner. You'd think Lenny, if this is really him filing this from the Honor Network, would want to know why they're showing his son in Pakistan. Why don't you call them?
One thing we can see at the end of this clip is that Mr. Jones decided that when a parent complained, he was going to put that parent's name and email out to his millions of people. You can agree on that?
Well, I believe that's public record when the complaint is sent. I'm not sure what you...
Ms. Carbova, I want you to listen to the question and answer the question that you're asked. Mr. Reynal will ask you questions later, but right now you have to answer Mr. Bankston's questions.
This was a notification from YouTube sent to InfoWars. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And not sent to the public, sent to InfoWars. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And InfoWars decided to take this notification that they had been given from YouTube and put it on the air with Lenny Posner's name and his email address. That happened, right?
With the claimants, yes.
Yes. Okay. And also, Mr. Jones says during this that I want to be careful. Did you hear him say that?
I did.
That's not the truth. He's being the exact opposite throughout all of these videos we're seeing, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. She's not here to judge whether he's being truthful or
So
not.
what's the legal objection, Mr. Reynal?
Calls for speculation.
All right. Overruled.
What's the question again?
Can I have that read back?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Watt.
Question, that's not the truth. He's been the exact opposite throughout all of these videos we're seeing, correct?
No, I think he's trying to be as truthful or as careful as he can.
He was said in there, we're not even saying in that headline that children weren't killed. You heard him say that?
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, what he's saying, didn't the headline say, Noah Posner died twice? Right? That's what it said.
Yes.
Okay. I want to play you another clip. Right, can we go ahead and play now clip 14H?
What do you think of us being censored? What's been happening to you?
I can tell you lots about Lenny. This man is something that you've never seen before. He's got a group of trolls, and if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and call them out. These people would be key.
Well, listen, hold on. I don't want to give these people any attention. I'm going to have to get with lawyers on this and deal with this. But I understand that, I mean, if they're trying to shut us down when we're just investigating it and looking at all sides, it must be horrible for folks out there that vehemently think this is staged. So just specifically, what have you gone through?
I can't even put up a video showing that he has put up a copyright strike against me without him copywriting striking that. They had taken my information and they gave it to one of his trolls in his network, and they went and they looked up all my information and put up a whole blog post about me and my daughter. Is what this troll network has done. These people are vile. And Laney, if you're listening, your day is coming, my friend. It is coming.
Wow, I mean, this sounds like a war's going on. I think they made a major mistake involving us because we were basically showing both sides and getting criticized by both groups for it.
Oh, I totally agree. They don't know what they bit off. Go after them, Alex. Crush them.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to leave the First Amendment alone. But, I mean, it does show that how would they claim it's a Fox News copyright violation? There's no Fox News on there. It's a news article. I mean, how do you do that? It's just, it's amazing.
They have two different email addresses they used. I noticed you said that for this claim they used the honor@gmail. The other one that they use, I won't say it, but I'll tell you off air if you want to know what that one is off air.
Well, I'm not somebody to mess with, and I understand that they can, use children or whatever, and then say the First Amendment's bad, but I mean, I got to defend the First Amendment, and it's just wild to get into this subject. We got all this stuff happening worldwide, all these moves against the First Amendment going on. It's pretty hardcore. So we're going to have our news director in here with our news anchor to talk about this because they're trying to shut us down.
During that clip, Mr. Jones said about the parents who were complaining, they made a major mistake involving us. That's what he said?
I'm not sure who Alex is referring to that made a mistake.
He's talking about this network of people, right, who complained?
Well, I think the caller is concerned here with the trolls that he's being attacked with, as well as his family, and that's what he's raising with Alex. And to my understanding from this clip is that he's saying he doesn't appreciate, having been entangled in this by the trolls who, again, posted the website, perhaps.
Let me make sure I understand. This caller, who had been posting videos with murdered parents' children in them and calling them fake, who had now been getting complaints from Mr. Posner, that person was mad that he got entangled in this. That's what you're telling me?
I'm not sure what this caller was doing.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Mr. Jones then. Because he said they made a major mistake involving us. You agree that's what he said?
He did say that.
Okay. And here's the other thing he said that I wanted to ask you about. Alex Jones said, I'm not somebody to mess with. That's true, isn't it?
He did say that.
And it's true, right? You don't want to mess with Alex Jones.
I'm not sure what he meant by that.
Okay.
I think he means that he's not going to stop. He's not going to shut up. That's his weapon, is his speech. So
Let's see how he uses that weapon. Let's check that out in the next clip. Melissa, can you play for us clip PVX14I?
Well, I've got an article here from a guy I think was our last caller, Michael. He's been getting all kinds of grief from Mr. Posner. Anything that comes out, social media shut down due to Sandy Hook false copyrights. What's interesting is they list the address for the Honor Network in Boca Raton, Florida. You look up the address on that, which says 908 North Dixie Highway. It is the address for a women's clothing store and a UPS, U-Haul rental place, U-Haul neighborhood dealer. So here's the 908 North Dixie Highway. There's no suite, but it's got two different buildings listed that address. One is a JJ Shop women's clothing store, and you go to the other one, same address, U-Haul neighborhood dealer. Now you go to their About Honor Network. I can go to this one right here, guys. You can leave the camera right there. Honor Network right there. It lists
They say they're in Connecticut.
It says they're in Newtown, Connecticut, but you go to that address, it's a U-Haul UPS store. I'm sorry, it's a UPS store. Same address, Main Street, Newtown, Connecticut. It's a UPS store.
That was Mr. Robert Dew talking, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of Mr. Jones using his speech he has, which you say is his weapon, when a parent of murdered children complained, the way Mr. Jones used that speech as a weapon is by showing literal maps to where they picked up their mail to all of his followers. That's what he did with his weapon of speech, right?
I wouldn't agree with that statement, sir.
Okay. Well, let's just make this really simple. We just saw, and the jury saw too, after these complaints and after he said, I'm not somebody to mess with, the next thing that happens on InfoWars later in that broadcast is them putting up literal maps to where these people pick up their mail. That happened, right?
Well, I think what Rob Dew was doing here is looking up the business name or organization name that's filed the complaint and researching into it. So.
Yeah, you know, Father Lenny Posner had created a name called Honor Network to try to be a little more anonymous when he was making these complaints. Did you know that? You heard about
Correct,
that?
we know that now.
Yeah. And y'all knew Lenny Posner was running the Honor Network. They showed it earlier in the clip, right? Ms. Karpova, we saw his email address, right?
The Honor Network is the address.
And you saw Lenny Posner's name.
Yes.
Right? And you know down there in Florida, what he showed, that's where Lenny Posner was picking up his mail.
I'm not sure if that address was public, the way they were able to find it, the organization's address. And that's what he was showing on air.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
They showed maps to where Lenny Posner was picking up his mail, correct?
Yes.
One thing we definitely know, I know you're saying you don't know if it was public. It was definitely public after that, wasn't it? To millions of people.
Well, assuming it was public, that's how he was able to find it, and it was on Google Maps, is what he was showing.
Ms. Karpova, can I please again remind you to not assume anything. You don't know for a fact where that came from, do you?
I'm trying my best to answer your question.
Would you please then agree with me that when I'm asking you a question and you're testifying under oath about the truth, can you please just not assume? So will you make that agreement with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand this trial is very important, right?
Very important.
Okay. And so I definitely want to make sure that you're not saying anything that you cannot say under oath. Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to show you another clip from this.
So you think, if they had this organization, they would have some sort of headquarters where they would be setting up a memorial?
Well, we'll just start investigating that. And I guess I'm going to have to probably go on up to Newtown. I'm going to have to probably go investigate Florida as well.
So Mr. Jones says, essentially because Mr. Dew is confused that Mr. Posner is using a UPS box and that he doesn't have a memorial set up or something. He's confused. Because of that, Mr. Jones says he needs to go down in Florida and investigate this, right?
I'm not sure if I would agree with that statement.
Okay, that's fine. Let's move into 2015 a little bit later. Let's go to March 2015. All right. In March 4th, 2015, there's another video, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that is called New Bombshell Sandy Hook Information Inbound, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I know in the last few videos where we've been seeing Mr. Jones talk about the incident being totally synthetic, completely manufactured, that kids didn't die. In these last few videos, we haven't been seeing a lot of Halbig. But in this video here about the bombshell information, this is Mr. Halbig we're going to be talking about, right?
I'll take your word for it.
Well, let's look at a video. Let's go ahead and show you a clip from that as PVX 15B.
Bombshell info you're breaking today. Bombshell info. Go over the main points of Sandy Hook as a top safety expert, why you questioned it. There you are, successful, making a lot of money, running nationwide programs, playing golf, pretty much quasi-retired. Why would you do all this? Well, because it didn't add up. I know you've talked about that on air. I'm not putting words in your mouth. But then the latest bombshell you just dropped, you're saying, because we know the school suddenly reopened, had been closed, and then they tore it down. The place was falling apart in photos and videos we saw. Didn't look like a real school. Then you add everything together, it looks like a prop, a drill. Did they kill real kids? Maybe, maybe not. Why didn't they call helicopters? I mean, I keep repeating this. It just doesn't add up. Wolfgang, what's the new bombshell info?
Well, the new bombshell info is that the subpoenas have been issued for the Connecticut Freedom of Information Commission hearing that is supposed to have already happened. They keep dragging it, but eventually we're going to get the truth, and the truth is going to show Sandy Hook, that school, was not an operating school, and I can tell you that from being a school administrator.
All right, Ms. Karpova, first of all, at this point in 2015, InfoWars had already had possession of the state's attorney's release of the official Sandy Hook files and report since 2013. For all of that time since up into this video, it has had those materials. Do you agree with that?
I can't agree with that specific statement, sir.
Well, didn't we just put at the beginning of your testimony these requests for admissions that you were involved with in the discovery? And we went through them all and see that it was admitted that the company did in fact possess that report in December of 2013. You remember we did that?
Correct, but if you're referring to who at the company had them, I have no idea who saw it.
Okay, I don't need to know a specific person. We know that the information was in the company's possession as of 2013, right?
It appears so.
Okay, and now we have in this video Mr. Jones saying the place was falling apart and the photos and the videos that we saw didn't look like a real school. What I want to ask you, Ms. Karpova, is in getting prepared to testify, you're getting prepared to be a corporate representative, is it your belief that if we were to show this jury those photos and those videos taken inside of Sandy Hook that day, do you believe it would show that it doesn't look like a real school, that it's falling apart? Do you know?
The photos that Alex was referring to, I believe so, yes.
Okay, so you think, because I'm going to tell you we're going to, you think when the jury sees the photos of the inside of the school and would see the video of you inside the school, they're going to think this was not an operating school.
I just said the photos and videos that Alex saw that he was referring to.
What are those?
I'm not sure.
And you were responsible for the sourcing and the research on plaintiff's petition.
I couldn't find them. That's something that Alex had done his research on.
You didn't even talk to Alex, did you?
I don't remember.
Didn't you testify yesterday in getting prepared for your corporate representative to testify about these topics? You didn't even talk to Alex.
Specifically not for that.
And you're telling me that all this stuff is coming right out of his brain, right? Right?
That's how he normally does it. He does previous research at home or right there and there.
Do you think it's fair that these parents who now have their day in court and were asking for this information, and when you were ordered to prepare yourself on this information, that you didn't even talk to Mr. Jones? Do you think that's fair to them?
Objection to the relevance, Your Honor, of discovery issues that have happened in this case.
You know what? I'm gonna sustain the objection for now. But if we can't get answers to the things she was supposed to be able to answer, I might allow it later.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So sustain for now.
Sustained, provisionally. Hey, we'll take what we can get at this point.
I want to show you another clip from this March 4th, 2015 video called New Bombshell Sandy Hook Information.
Well, they're obviously looking for a big PR bonanza and then to bring in all the actors to break down and cry. And I think we're so stupid they even use the same actors as different people. I mean, all I know is we've all seen the footage, and maybe they're real parents, whatever, but when you've got somebody laughing and smiling and you want to watch this, and then walking over going, and then starting crying for the cameras, I mean, what about the blue screen and Anderson Cooper's nose disappearing?
Absolutely. The blue screen, it's everywhere, whether it's at the firehouse, whether it's Anderson Cooper, absolutely. They use that as a technology. It's like a movie set. They did whatever they wanted to, because guess what? They were using emotions, the death of children and teachers, unhooking everybody across America. They threw those funerals out there, and guess what? Everybody was watching it 24/7. They inflicted emotional distress on millions of innocent Americans. Alex, they knew what they were doing. They got us hooked.
In fact, can we pull up the clip of the Attorney General saying we need to literally brainwash the public?
Mr. Harper, there was a lot said there, but what I really want to ask you about is this. I wrote it down here. Mr. Jones said, and then they bring in all the actors to break down and cry. And they think we're so stupid that they use the same actors as different people. You heard that?
Yes.
What people were supposedly played, the different people that were supposedly played by the same actor? Who was that?
It's hard to say who he's referring to here. I don't know.
It would definitely be hard to say if you didn't talk to Mr. Jones or prepare, right?
I did prepare the best I could.
If I may, Your Honor, and I think that she's not here as a corporate representative. She gave a deposition as one. If they want to play the deposition, this is inappropriate. She wasn't supposed to be here as a corporate representative.
Are you objecting to
Yes.
this last question?
I'm objecting to this last question, this entire line of questioning about corporate representative.
Well, you're actually objecting to a sidebar, and I will sustain the objection to a sidebar.
Understood, Your Honor.
Ask a question.
Understood. And if I could reemphasize that, hopefully with the limit speaking in questions.
Yes.
He was practically whispering to the judge, so I can't hear a word he's saying.
Let's talk about another clip in this video, okay? And I want you to pay attention to what Mr. Halbig is saying in this video. We're going to hear from Mr. Halbig, okay? This is clip 15G. Can we play that?
You have no reason to be doing this, to be going public. I mean, I would imagine you've lost a lot of business.
And you tell that to my wife, I am about to be kicked out of my own house after being married 39 years. Alex, I'm about to lose my family because I'm simply asking the questions that you and your stations are looking at. And I'm asking you right now, and I'm asking all your listeners, doggone it, support InfoWars. Become part of the warriors. We need this show. We need the truth. If you find it in your heart to donate a few dollars to our legal funds, let me tell you, we have them.
We had the lawsuits filed. We are closed, but we can't do it without people helping me. I'm too old for this, but I do need help. The big thing is support InfoWars, because if we don't have your voice, nobody's going to hear the truth.
Well, folks need to donate, and briefly, as we're going to break, tell us the specifics of where it was filed, what's going on with the lawsuit.
Well, it's filed here in Seminole County because all my businesses, Children's Safety Institute, the National Institute, this is my home, this is where I live. And so instead of going to Connecticut where everything is crooked, we're going to come in the back door, and therefore we filed it. It's in the Seminole County court system. The judge, the female judge, she saw what we're talking about, and she did not hesitate issuing those 10 subpoenas across the country. And they've been served, and we're not just waiting for all of the responses.
Wow, well, this is big national news.
Ms. Karpova, I want to ask you something very specific about what Mr. Jones said. Or I'm sorry, about what Mr. Halbig said. Did you hear the portion where he was sort of praising InfoWars?
Yes.
Okay. And in that clip, he said, support InfoWars, because if we don't have your voice, nobody's going to hear the truth. That's what Mr. Halbig said?
He did say that.
Okay. Mr. Halbig doesn't have a media company, does he?
I don't believe so.
He doesn't appear in front of an audience of millions, does he? Unless he's on InfoWars, right?
I believe he's been on other shows before as well.
Where has he appeared in front of millions of people, Ms. Karpova?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now.
All right. Because you would agree with me that nobody in this country, nobody who runs a media empire with millions of viewers would ever put Wolfgang Halbig on its shows other than InfoWars, right?
I don't know that.
Okay. But according to Mr. Halbig, if InfoWars isn't out there, if InfoWars isn't helping Mr. Halbig get his message out, nobody's going to hear the truth, according to Mr. Halbig. That's what he said.
But that's something that pretty much every guest that we have on say, and they also ask for donations.
I bet. I bet those people want that audience. And in fact, that's what was happening here, is even Mr. Jones was saying folks need to donate, right?
Yes.
Mr. Jones was helping raise money to let Mr. Halbig do all the things that we've been seeing him do, right?
Well, Alex just likes to help the little guy because he doesn't, in his time, at the time in his opinion, and Alex always states that it's, according to him, it's his opinion, that Wolfgang was not getting a big national attention, and he was trying to help him out.
Let me make sure I understand you. Alex likes to support the little guy, right? That's what you said?
Yes.
And in this case, the little guy is the guy who is sending harassing emails to the parents of murdered children. That's right?
Again, I do not agree with your assessment that it was a malicious harassing email.
Okay.
You say this has hurt your family. I bet your wife's sick of it. I mean, the evidence is there. It's not just that I believe you're doing a good job because of the fact that you have stuff to lose and that you don't have a motive. It's that I can see the same stuff you're seeing. I'm not an expert, but I've been studying it. So we should all pray for you and your family, and I hope your wife and folks stand by you.
Well, my wife is like millions of others out there. She's refusing to actually read it and look at it. And I think that's what's happening to millions across the country. They were touched emotionally and they were brainwashed by the national news media.
They were traumatized.
Yeah, they were traumatized, and that's where we are, and we need to show them that they lied to us, that this was a conspiracy.
Well, I just commend you. Folks should certainly be praying for Wolfgang. They should go to his website and support him, sandyhookjustice.com. We salute you. We'll get updates soon, sandyhookjustice.com. Folks, stand with him. He's fighting for all of us and for the Second Amendment.
Alex, thank you.
Thank you.
I heard there Mr. Jones talking about how they traumatized us. The people who did Sandy Hook, they traumatized us. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And did you hear in the earlier clip when Mr. Jones and Halbig were talking about how this event was calculated to inflict emotional distress on the public? Do you remember him saying that?
Yes.
Okay. I want to know, is it the company's current position that Neil and Scarlett were involved in fakery are not real parents and inflicted emotional distress on the country. Is that the company's position?
Objection, she's not a corporate representative.
I'll ask it to her personally. I have no
I
problem.
mean, did you ask it at the deposition? I don't know.
Yes, but I'm not sure I want to go into that right now.
All right.
Yeah, but I'll ask it to you personally. From your personal perspective, what do you think?
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, do you believe? You and Scarlett, right here. Do you believe these two people are fake parents who inflicted emotional distress on America? Is that something you believe, Ms. Carpo?
I don't believe that, and I believe that their grief is being used. And they're
By
being
who?
lied to that,
By
that
Mr.
Alex
Jones?
Jones is their enemy when he's not. You're their enemy because you're lying to them. And you're using their grief to make bank with
Okay.
lies and lawfare. And I think this reasonable jury here will see that the truth is on our side in this case.
They'll see that the things we're saying here today are reasonable, good things to do, huh? Is that what they'll see?
They will see that Alex meant everything from his heart, and he never claimed something for sure. It was his opinion, and he stated it in every time, and he was trying to do honest investigative research to the best of his ability, and that's his job. And he takes it very seriously.
Now,
That's why
remember-
people love him.
I remember you were also saying that you, in attempting to meet your responsibilities as the corporate representative, you did the best you could, right? You remember you saying that?
Yes, I did.
And the best you could do to prepare for the things that Alex Jones said that were from him didn't even include talking to Alex Jones. That was the best you could do. That's what you're telling us?
I did the best that I was advised to do, and I did that.
You were advised not to speak to Mr. Jones then, weren't you?
I wasn't advised to.
Objection, Your Honor. I think that we're getting into attorney-client privilege stuff. She's not here as a corporate representative. The questions are argumentative.
I would like to move on from the
Sure.
device.
Absolutely. Let's move on to a new exhibit. I want to. You remember we were talking in this video, or they were talking in this video, about Mr. Halbig bringing a lawsuit in Seminole County, Florida.
Yes, he did say that.
Okay. And you understand that the company got information from an outsider that told them that there was a good chance Mr. Halbig might be lying about that entire legal proceeding. Do you remember us talking about that?
Yes, the email.
Okay. I would like to show that to you now.
I'll object here, say Your Honor.
Let me give you a copy, Your Honor.
I have a copy.
Oh, okay. And our response is not the truth of the matter asserted. It's a warning to the company, something they needed to investigate.
I will not object to it on that.
I'm sorry?
Said if they're not offering it for the truth, then I'm fine with that.
All right, then 62 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ms. Karpova, there's a first email here from Nico, right? That's an InfoWars producer at the time.
Yes.
And that is to Rob Dew. And again, we're not sure what his job function was in 2015, but definitely a high production person inside of InfoWars.
Again, I'm not sure what his job was.
Right,
At that
but-
particular time.
But we can agree, and have agreed in this courtroom several times now, he was a high production employee at InfoWars.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And he is emailing to Rob saying, here are some comments on Halbig's last interview from a law student, right?
Yes.
All right, let's pull up that second email. It says, and you can go down this email with me? Yep. Okay, great. It says, Madam or Sir, I am in my final semester of law school. I listened to the Wolfgang Halbig video and some significant alarm bells went off. I also wrote on the YouTube page, but I copy and paste here. Okay, so just so I get this straight, starting at 3130, he filed his lawsuit in Seminole County Court in Florida, not federal court in Florida, but in state court. There is a legal requirement called standing. He does not have standing to sue in Seminole County Court. He was not a party to the shooting in any fashion. There is also a concept called jurisdiction. Either the man is lying or the judge is insane. A Florida county level judge would not have jurisdiction for any reason other than a contract, tort, or crime issue directly involving Mr. Halbig. Something is completely wrong here. Had he said in the federal district of Florida, or whatever district it might be if the state is split, that may at least be plausible. This is completely insane and cannot go anywhere but into a trash can. to the trash can. No standing, no subject matter jurisdiction, no personal jurisdiction. 2 cents from a third-year law student who is legally current in his education. This man seems to be grasping and stretching. No judge in their right mind would do such a thing as he describes. Here's an example. Imagine there's a crime in Las Vegas and the criminal kills himself. There's no law whatsoever that would allow Alex or anyone else to file suit in San Antonio for anything regarding the crime in Las Vegas. There's no claim that could be made in Texas for something that happened in Nevada. It's a rule. Signed R. Darren Blumfield. He was apparently at that time at the William S. Boyd School of Law. I read that email correctly?
Apparently.
Okay. And so Nico had actually brought this to Rob's attention, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the company was on notice that there might be some significant problems with the things that Wolfgang Halbig was saying. That's what this email was saying, correct?
Nico had forwarded this email to Rob Dew. What happened to it afterwards, I don't know.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Ms. Karpova, I'm not asking you about what happened with the forwarding. I'm asking you, InfoWars had received an email in its possession that had been discussed had been forwarded among these production employees that suggested that the things that Mr. Halbig was saying in his interview were insane. Right?
Yes, it appears.
Okay. Super Bowl 2013. It's about 1 month after the Sandy Hook shooting. You're aware that a choir of Sandy Hook school children was sent to that Super Bowl to sing during the halftime performance of that choir?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that Mr. Halbig believed that that choir of school children who sang at the Super Bowl were actually the children who were claimed to be murdered at Sandy Hook. You knew that?
Yes.
It says 10 Sandy Hook children found alive and well. Right?
Yes.
You're a first street? Can I have you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't understand what you said.
Yeah, I know. I'm speaking quickly. I'm sorry. You see this name?
Yes.
Jesse Lewis?
Yes.
You know that's their son, right?
Yes.
Well, Jesse Lewis, the name is their son. You know that. That's their son's name. That's what I mean.
Yes.
This is not their son. Right?
Right.
Wolfgang sent this picture to InfoWars before he went on the show on March 4th, 2015. Right?
Yes.
And Nico said, got the Super Bowl picture, thanks for sending. That's what he said, right?
Yes.
Ms. Karpova, looking at this picture, it's true, your personal opinion, as to whether this was created by a sane, rational human being. You have no personal opinion about that, do you?
I have a personal opinion.
Okay, do you remember testifying to me back in December?
As a corporate rep.
Hmm? Do you remember that?
I'm not
Do
sure.
you remember
what I
giving
said.
a deposition?
I do.
Okay, and you were under oath in that deposition.
Yes.
All right. I want you to look here, and what I'm going to read to you, okay? Ms. Karpova, will you admit, sitting here right now, this was not created by a rational, sane human being? Or are you going to tell this jury that this is created by a rational, sane human being? Can you tell me what your answer under oath was?
My answer under oath was I don't have an opinion, a personal opinion on it. But since I have developed an opinion, that's my truthful answer right now.
Okay, so back 6 months ago or so, when you were being deposed and you were shown this picture, you didn't have a personal opinion on it at all. But in the intervening time, before you've come to this witness stand in this court, in this trial, now you have a personal opinion?
Correct.
Okay. Tell me now, Ms. Karpova, was this created by a sane, rational human being, in your opinion?
May I ask you a question?
No, you may not.
So, I will answer your question. It's just this particular screenshot is, are we referring to Wolfgang Halbig here?
Yes.
So this, I don't believe this is he sent this picture, but he didn't make this picture. I'm not sure who made this picture, which is why I can't
Ms.
comment.
Okay, listen to the question.
The
Ask
truth
it
is,
again.
you don't know that Wolfgang Halbig didn't make that photo. You don't have that knowledge.
Don't know.
Okay, so please appreciate it if you didn't testify about things you don't know. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, I want you telling this jury that Wolfgang Halbig didn't make this photo if you don't know that. Okay? Was this photo made by a sane, rational human being? Do you have an opinion on it?
Yes.
What is your opinion?
I think this photo was made by a person who was deeply disturbed at what happened, and that messed with his mind. So the answer would be partially no to your question.
Partially no. Okay. Do you sit in here today? Do you understand how wrong it was to encourage this man's delusions like this? Do you understand that?
We did the best at the time. It wasn't something that was done on purpose.
According to you, if a source sent you this picture, it would cause you to have a lot of hope because you wouldn't want to think that the kids are dead. You'd rather they be alive, right?
If it was my personal preference, I would much rather think that the kids actually were involved in some kind of operation with the government. That way they'd still be alive.
What do you think would be happening to those kids if they were actually being used by the satanic globalists for an occult ritual where they cart them out for the Super Bowl and put them in our face and taunt us with the fact that we actually faked that, and here are the real murdered children who are still in the possession of the satanic globalists? At the end of their performance, when they leave the Super Bowl, do you think they're about to have a good time?
I can't agree with any of what you just said. My only statement is that I would have much rather think that these children are alive as opposed to have been shot the way they were.
Okay. Let's play clip 31C.
See that? And now after the second hearing, you actually tried to question Chief Kehoe. He I guess, recently resigned, like maybe announced it the day before. What was your impression of his body language and how he wanted really nothing to do with you? He seemed to be afraid of you at that point.
Yeah, I mean, from the first hearing to the second hearing, I mean, he was just quick answers. He looked like he didn't want to be there, wanted to get the hell out of there. And of course, a resignation comes in, I think, the night before the hearing. And that's the first question I hit him with, is about him resigning. Why are you resigning? Then, of course, I followed him all the way out, and I tried to get answers on him. Of course, no dice. The state police actually grabbed him to put him in a state police car to escort him to his car. And then we went after Marty Frank after that, the lawyer.
Yeah, the lawyer seems to have a vested interest in keeping whatever the narrative they want to push going. He's now, running with charities. He rides his bike for these charities. He founded one of them, Team 26 for Newtown. How has he been? Did you try to interact with him at all during these hearings?
Yeah, so when I went after Marty Frank, I mean, I was just asking him the questions, just regular questions. He did not want to answer, so he's looking at my press credentials, trying to figure out who I am. And I told him, hey, we're here to expose corruption. And this guy fits the bill of somebody out of Central Casting. And is a perfect person. He looks like Mr. Burns or somebody from The Simpsons or whatever, running a nuclear power plant. But I mean, this guy is somebody out of Central Casting. I mean, this guy is a joke. Representing corruption.
Did you hear Mr. Dew say about Mr. Badani confronting that official? He seemed to be afraid of you.
I think I recall that.
Okay. So Mr. Dew knew that Mr. Badani was in Newtown and might be frightening people. You knew that.
Object to the speculation, Your Honor, as to what Rob Dew knew.
I think you need to rephrase your question.
Sure.
So sustained.
This video shows, in a production video of the company, that at that time, the company was airing information showing that the company knew that Dan Badani might be scaring people.
This seems to me like it's an opinion of Rob Dew just watching the clip from Dan Badani. That's what it is.
Sure, so the nightly news director seemed to have acquired the opinion from this video, as you just testified, that Mr. Badani might be scaring people, right?
Whatever that meant to him,
sure.
Yes.
Do you know if, after these confrontations, do you know if InfoWars asked him to go back to San Diego?
Don't know.
So what we got here is a message from Dan Bidondi to Rob Dew, right?
It appears so.
And it says, "Hey Rob, can I do an MOS tomorrow?" MOS is man on the street, right?
Yes.
And he says, "I wanted to hit up the Bristol 4th of July parade. It's the country's oldest and longest running 4th of July parade celebration." And then he starts talking about the questions he wants to ask. And he says, "Questions. Any you want to add or take out, let me know. What holiday are we celebrating today? What country did we defeat to gain our independence? In what year did we declare our independence? What is the name of the document that was signed on this day? Can you name any of the founding founders that signed the Declaration of Independence? And then according to our Constitution, who gives us our rights? The government, the military, we the people, or Obama? How many stars are on the flag? How many strips, which I believe means stripes? Islamic leader Louis Farrakhan recently stated that the American flag needs to be put down. Do you agree or not? What is your thought? Your thoughts. What is your thought about people burning and stomping on the American flag? And do you think the Confederate flag should be banned? And do you think banning this flag is an attack on the First Amendment?" Those are what Mr. Bidondi wanted to go out and ask people, right?
Suggestions, yes.
Sure. Now let's go up and look at what Mr. Dew said. He said, "Dan, the MOS will be old by the time we can air it. Go to Sandy Hook. We will cover that." Rob, that's what he wrote.
Correct.
Okay. So if anyone was to say that Mr. Bidondi stopped working for InfoWars, or they stopped asking him to do stuff because of what he did in Newtown, that's not true, is it? If that were said.
I'm not sure what capacity he'd be doing this particular assignment.
What do you mean by that? You don't know what capacity he'd be doing it. Rob Dew is asking an employee of the company who's working for InfoWars as its reporter to go and cover Sandy Hook, and he's referencing a report that happened days ago. He knows that he did what he did days ago. So when he's asking him to do this, he's asking him to go do the same thing, right?
Objection compound.
It was a little bit complicated.
It is a little clunky. Let me try it again. Because InfoWars knew about what Bidondi had done days before, it's a reasonable inference that when Rob was asking him to go to Sandy Hook again, he was wanting him to do basically the same thing. Isn't that fair?
Objection relevance, cause for speculation.
Overruled.
I wouldn't completely agree with that.
You don't completely agree with that.
With your statement. Yes.
Right, because what you then I guess think is that Mr. Bidondi was going to go to Sandy Hook and do something totally different than what he had done before. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what he would have done. Rob Dew has a better idea in this email what he could have done.
Okay. Dan Bidondi's nickname inside of InfoWars is the Kraken, correct?
I don't think I've heard that before.
You've never heard them say "release the Kraken" about Daniel Bidondi?
No, I know that's a general expression on the internet about a lot of things. But
What does that mean to you?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Okay. Dan Bidondi's a former professional wrestler?
I'm sorry?
Dan Bidondi is a former professional wrestler?
I don't know his background. I've never seen or talked to the guy. But I believe that's correct.
They talk about how the school board has every record back for decades, yet they don't have permission slips or anything having to do with this trip that they're taking the Sandy Hook Choir to the Super Bowl. No mention of it anywhere. Oh, we're just going to send the kids to the Super Bowl. No big deal. And crazy.
All right, on the right there, that's Leanne McAdoo, right?
Yes.
She was, as we discussed, an InfoWars anchor and reporter at that time.
Yes.
And on the left there, that's Robert Dew, right?
Yes.
Again, one of the people we were talking about as a high production employee during his course of his career at InfoWars. Right?
At some point, I believe he was.
I mean, look, Ms. Karpova, I think you can agree with me. For many, many, many years, Rob Dew was Alex Jones' right-hand man when it came to production. You agree with that?
He does a lot of things. I don't know his official.
Okay. And in that clip, Mr. Dew is again talking about this idea of the Super Bowl choir. Something fishy going on with the Super Bowl choir. That's what he's talking about?
I believe that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. And so even after Wolfgang Halbig had sent Plaintiff's Exhibit 43, and they had seen this picture, Rob Dew's still on InfoWars later talking about this Super Bowl choir, isn't he?
He must have had questions about this picture.
All right.
Will you please call your uncle before they try to get to him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually texted him, told him about the third hearing that's going to go on. I said, hey, you need to check this out. He hasn't gotten back with me on that. So.
Where does he live, up there?
Yeah. He lives up, but he doesn't live in Connecticut. He lives south of New York City.
Oh, so New Jersey.
Yeah.
Anyways, come on, it's not a secret agent thing. The people that did Sandy Hook knows where your uncle lives.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Larry Nichols gives his home address out. It's like, by the way, Larry Nichols is on Thursday. All right, dude, good job covering all this. We only skim the surface. I mean, I don't want to be the one reporting all this. It's super dangerous, but it's just the truth.
Mr. Jones said, the people who did Sandy Hook know where your uncle lives. You heard that?
Yes.
Who are the people who did Sandy Hook?
I have no idea who he was referring to.
Okay, so you have no idea what Mr. Jones is talking about in terms of who he is claiming was responsible for Sandy Hook.
I don't know what people he's referring to.
2016, do you remember the U.S. presidential campaign?
Yes.
And you will agree with me that Mr. Jones became a major issue in that campaign.
Yes.
And in fact, Secretary Clinton discussed him in campaign speeches.
She did.
Mr. Jones didn't like that.
He did not. No.
He made a response video about this controversy in the campaign that he called Alex Jones' final statement on Sandy Hook. You're familiar with that video?
Yes.
Okay. That was published on your list on November 18, 2016?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show some of that video.
Number one, the day before this tragic event happened, an email was sent out by Bloomberg's anti-gun group saying, prepare for a big event. But the biggest piece of evidence, the smoking gun, if you would, of a cover-up, of whatever really happened, is the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive. We see Sandy Hook's Newtown website, K through 12, having zero traffic, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then all of a sudden, it just explodes. It's impossible to have zero traffic to a K through 12 entire school system. And the word is, that school system was shut down for those years. That's what the records show. But they tell us it was open. I don't know if the moon landings were faked, but I don't put anything past these anti-gunners. And early on that day, we watched footage of kids going in circles in and out of the building. You'd be running them away from the building. Emergency helicopters weren't called. Instead, porta potties were prepared for the press within hours of the event. I saw the helicopters that did respond, the police helicopters, saying that there were men or a man in the woods in camouflage. The media later said that was a conspiracy theory. So early on, I'm like, well, I saw local news of the guy in the woods, and they took him in custody. Now they're saying it never happened, so that shows there's some of a cover-up happening. And then I saw Anderson Cooper. I've been in TV for 20-something years. I know a blue screen or a green screen. Turn, and his nose disappear. Then I saw clearly that they were using footage on the green screen looped, because it would show flowers and other things during other broadcasts that were moving and then basically cutting to the same piece of footage. Then I saw CNN do faked satellite interviews with reporters clearly with the same traffic and the same cars right behind them conducting the interview face to face. Then we see footage of one of the reported fathers of the victims, Robbie Parker, doing classic acting training where he's laughing and joking and they say, hey, we're live, and he goes, oh. And maybe that's real. I'm sure it is.
Melissa, can you bring up 35 seconds for me? This, I think you recall hearing Mr. Jones call it the smoking gun of a Sandy Hook cover-up. You remember him saying that?
Yes.
Okay. This is the Internet Wayback Machine, a screenshot from it?
Yes.
And according to Mr. Jones, he says that this shows that the Newtown School District had no traffic to it, right?
That's what he thought at the time that meant, yes.
Right, but he's wrong.
It appears he is wrong, yes.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, you've testified he's wrong.
Yes.
Do you even know if that's the right website?
Are you referring to the...
Newtown.k12.cs.us/tilde Sandy Hook. Do you know if that website was in operation after 2008 or if the school district moved to a new website? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
That's not Sandy Hook, is it? The school?
Correct.
Okay. So when Mr. Jones said that there were kids going in and out of the building at Sandy Hook, and that doesn't make any sense because you'd be getting them away from the building, that's not even the school,
Right, there was a lot of confusing reports at that time that purported that to be the school.
Nobody verified it, did they? Who reported that was the school?
A lot of people.
You said a lot. Name one.
I don't... It would be impossible to go back and figure out who that person was.
You didn't try, did you? You were asked to.
You tried.
What'd you do?
Just look at a bunch of it's hard to find any videos about Sandy Hook in the first place now because they're deleted or banned or what.
But one thing we can say is that Mr. Jones falsely told his audience that was the school.
He believed that was a school. That's what he didn't knowingly lie to the public.
I didn't ask you that. In fact, objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
I asked you if Mr. Jones, the statements he made about that school being, that building being Sandy Hook, were false, right?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Do you remember when he said that there were porta potties set up for the press?
Yes.
Do you know when porta potties arrived?
I don't.
Okay. And you know there were, like, some press people came to the town once the story got out that there was a mass shooting there, right? You understand that?
Yes, there was just a lot of confusion.
If
Even
you
in
want-
the mainstream media about times and events.
A lot of confusion, but times and events. But if you wanted to know when something showed up at Sandy Hook School that day, one thing you could do was look at the dash cams of the police officers' cars parked in the parking lot entrance. And you would see anything that went in to the school, right?
I don't know who would have thought to check that or how they would have come across that information.
Haven't multiple people on InfoWars discussed the dash cam and how it shows things coming in and out of Sandy Hook?
I don't remember specifically the videos you're referring to.
Okay. And you understand that those dash cam videos are in the report that InfoWars had possession of since 2013. You understand that?
I'll take your word for it.
Sure. I don't want you to do that. Let's show you. This is Plaintiff's Exhibit 27. And you see here, we've got a lot of media attachments. Do you see that? So it says media and attachments? We have outdoor scene processing videos, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. We even have indoor scene processing videos, right?
Yes.
And then we have primary scene videos, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. And this website was known to the company, as we established earlier, correct?
This website.
The website that contains the official report of the Sandy Hook crisis released by the state's attorney's office. We confirmed that InfoWars knew about this website and those requests for admissions. Do you remember that?
Actually, I don't remember. Can you remind me?
Sure, I'll come over and point it out again. Let's go through your stack here, and I'm going to kind of help you with your papers. We're going to move some of these exhibits out of the way. Here we go. Do you remember this question? The report and appendix to the report can be accessed and downloaded from the following website. The company said, and you were aware that this report was publicly available on that date. Okay, thank you. Jones talks about two reporters talking to each other from the same parking lot. Did you see that part? Remember this?
Yes.
Okay. That does not look good at all. But what I think you can see is P, an H, an O, an E, an N, an I, and an X. Phoenix. Zoom it out again. Both of these say Phoenix, don't they? Right?
It appears so.
Okay. And let's go back down again to the date. May 9th, 2013. That is way after Sandy Hook, right?
Sometime after Sandy Hook.
Do you know what these women are covering? Do you know? It's not Sandy Hook, is it?
Okay.
I'm asking, do you know?
I'm not sure now.
Okay, so this hasn't, as far as we know, this has nothing to do with Sandy Hook, right?
I've seen this video passed around a million times. I don't think Jones was saying it was Sandy Hook coverage. He was merely showing another example of the media doing weird things, and that video was viral at the time.
These women are in a parking lot covering some event. But it's not Sandy Hook if it's in Phoenix, is it?
I don't know.
And they don't say they're in different places, do they? It says they're both in Phoenix, right?
Yes, I don't know if Alex saw it in a video or this something about this video. I'm not sure. The article is not it's a repost from Happy Place.
Ms. Karpova, please, objection on response.
Sustained.
Ms. Karpova, I don't know why I can't get you to answer the question. I don't want you to. I know.
Object
I
to
know,
the
we're gonna try.
sidebar.
What we need to do.
Sustained.
Sorry.
So, I sustained your objection to her answer being non-responsive. That means you didn't answer the question he asked you. He's going to ask another question. You're going to listen to the question he asks you and answer that question, not whatever you feel like saying. Answer the question he asks you. Go ahead.
This shows these women are both in Phoenix, right?
Yes.
Nobody said they were in different places, right?
I don't know who said they were in different places, if anybody did say or not.
Okay, and now, well, Mr. Jones did.
Yes.
All right. And you say now that it might be a different video. This might be the wrong video. Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to speculate.
Right, and because you were ordered to prepare on the sourcing and research for the claims like this in plaintiff's petition, that was something you should have at some point reviewed, right?
Well, again, this was taken down, so it's hard to it's impossible to go back to this particular article and see what was in it.
This article isn't on the InfoWars website right now?
I don't believe so.
And then this video is certainly in your possession, isn't it?
I don't believe so.
Ms. Karpova, your company gave this video to me. You understand that?
Okay.
Right, so the video is in your possession. Did you even look at it?
I looked at a lot of videos. I don't remember it.
Plus, that deposition was well over a fucking year before this trial. What the hell, Junior?
Sometimes you've seen out in front of like parking lots of courthouse trailers of CNN anchors, and they're sitting in their little chairs in their setups, and they're being filmed in a parking lot. You've seen that before?
Yes.
Okay. And these two women here are both CNN anchors. Do you see that down on the bottom?
Yes.
Right, so I'm just trying to get, Ms. Karpova, what in the heck is suspicious about this?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's play another clip from this video. Let's play 18C.
And why should anybody fear an investigation if they have nothing to hide? In fact, isn't that in Shakespeare's Hamlet? Methinks you protest too much. So here is my statement for the media when they call up, saying, where do you stand on this? Where I've always stood. When there were other mass shootings, I would simply point out that they're very rare statistically, and why should we all give up our rights because some other bad person does something? A guy with a car runs over 50 people. Do we ban driving cars? It's the same thing. And there have been other instances of shootings that are very suspicious. Aurora is one. Just look into that. But this particular case, they are so scared of an investigation. So everything they do basically ends up blowing up in their face. So you guys are going to get what you want now. I'm going to start reinvestigating Sandy Hook and everything else that happened with it. I'm on the show signing off from Infowars.com. If you're watching this transmission, think for yourself. I know it's a thought crime. And then ask yourself, what is it so strange about Sandy Hook and that tragedy? But I will say this finally, my heart does go out to all parents that lose children. whether it's the stabbings or whether it's the car wrecks or whether it's the stranglings or whether it's the blunt force trauma or murder, firearms, whatever the case is, I'm a parent and my heart goes out to all parents that have lost children in these tragic events. And so if children were lost in Sandy Hook, my heart goes out to each and every one of those parents and the people that say they're parents that I see on the news. The only problem is I've watched a lot of soap operas, and I've seen actors before. And I know when I'm watching a movie, I know when I'm watching something real. Let's look into Sandy Hook.
When Mr. Jones said there, let's look into Sandy Hook, he means his audience too. They should look into it too. That's what he's saying?
Yes.
Yeah, hey Alex. The whole Sandy Hook thing is a quagmire because of the way the media and the officials up there were so secret about everything. And that's where people started questioning. That's the big thing. They were saying anybody who says anything on the internet and he gets caught with it, we're going to go after him. They come out first day, they have the wrong name of the supposed shooter. They have his older brother. And they have guns that they're calling out, then they're pulling guns out of cars, they're finding people in the backwoods that are dressed up in SWAT gear.
And that's on helicopter footage, and they say it never existed, and then later admit it does, and then the school was closed till that year, and then the videos, it's all rotting and falling apart, and nobody's even in it, and the kids are going in circles in and out of the buildings with their hands up, and then they never called rescue choppers. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness. There's some supposed dash camera footage where the people are smiling and getting their lunches ready, the police officers. You think you're going to have smiling police officers at a time when they're supposedly bringing out 20 dead kids, and they're smiling and getting their lunches ready on top of a police car.
And they had porta potties being delivered an hour after it happened for the big media event.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm amazed that, and then, we've never seen, there's never been any even blurred photos of any bodies or anything. We've seen every other incident where there's dead.
They sure showed us the nerve gas kids in Syria, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't even get blurred images with the dead kids in Syria. We got crisp photos. We got
video.
The UN photos being held up.
All right, Ms. Karpova. Vast majority of what we just heard in there was the same stuff we've been hearing Mr. Jones and Mr. Halvig talk about over and over again, right?
Yes, a lot of that stuff is repeat.
In fact, a lot of that stuff comes from those 16 questions you told me you understood, right?
I don't have every question memorized. But
I didn't
I'll
ask you that.
for it.
I asked you if some of that comes from Wolfgang Halvig's questions.
I would assume so, yes.
So in 2017, well, after years of InfoWars receiving emails from Wolfgang Halvig of the type we've seen today, they were still repeating the stuff he said on InfoWars in 2017, correct?
It appears so, yes.
Yes. Okay. By the way, that we've talked about most of these false things that are said in there. Have you ever seen this supposed dash cam footage of these cops that Mr. Jones was talking about, or Mr. Dew was talking about?
I would like to see what you're referring to.
I've never seen it. That's what I'm asking you. And I'm asking you because I don't think it exists. Right? That's made up.
If they talked about it, they must have seen it.
Really? You think they must have seen it?
They didn't make it up.
Well, you're just assuming that, right? You didn't talk to Rob Dew about this, did you?
Objection argument.
Let's just.
I can.
You can ask a question and you can ask it that way. Let's just take a beat and then ask the question again.
Absolutely. Okay. Are you testifying here under oath that Rob Dew has seen this supposed dash cam footage?
If he had talked about it, then he had seen it, yes.
You're positive of that under oath?
Yes, I've never seen him lie about, lie on purpose.
Why hasn't anybody given it to me if that's true?
They probably couldn't find it. It was deleted from the internet.
Why didn't they put it on the show?
I don't know.
Sounds like Rob Dew saying there's this supposed dash cam footage. I usually don't say supposed about things I've never seen before. Wouldn't you agree with that?
sure what he meant by that.
Well, sort of like when somebody says the supposed murders of. I'm sorry, you got an objection?
Yeah, this whole thing is speculative as to what's in Rob Dew's mind when he says that.
Well, I think that Ms. Karpova is the one who brought this in by saying he wouldn't say it if he hadn't seen it. He wouldn't lie. So now we have to explore how she knows that.
Sort of like if somebody was to say the supposed victims of Sandy Hook. That sort of signals they're not sure, doesn't it?
They're not sure about what.
Whether there's victims of Sandy Hook.
Yeah, so suppose it can be several things, yes.
And one of those things could mean is Rob Dew's never seen that dash cam footage. He thought it was supposed dash cam footage, right?
I don't know if he read about. Again, I don't know what he means by that right here.
All right.
I'm just assuming based on my experience with Rob Dew.
You don't know though, right?
I don't know for sure.
Thank you, Ms. Karpova. Around this time in the summer of 2017, you understand that Mr. Jones gave an interview to Megyn Kelly, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand around this time that a controversy had developed that Ms. Kelly was covering about Mr. Jones' statements about Sandy Hook, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Jones, once he gave that interview, was not happy with how it went. You would agree with that?
Yes, because she lied about why she was inviting him.
Yeah, she kind of suckered him into a hit piece, huh?
Pretty much.
Yeah, she
Set a
kind
trap
of
for him.
entrapped him. Good reporter might go to a subject and say, try to soften his defenses and say, "Oh, Mr. Jones, you're so important, so powerful. We'd really like to interview you." But then when she got in the room, she didn't. She went a different direction, didn't she?
And I believe she specifically said that it wasn't going to be about Sandy Hook, and which is why he accepted the interview, because she wasn't the one who wanted to keep the conversation about the Sandy Hook going. It was her and the mainstream media attaching him to the Sandy Hook.
Yeah, he wouldn't stop talking about Sandy Hook because he was potentially facing some legal threat, right?
I don't know what.
Okay. Let's take a look at a video. Do you remember? Let's take a look at that on your list there, June 13th, 2017.
But again, I want to encourage people to read the Zero Hedge article that breaks it all down, because they absolutely are on target with this report, where they ask the questions that the media seems so scared that I might even actually talk about if the Megyn Kelly interview aired. Why does the Sandy Hook Elementary School website have zero traffic for 4 years before the event and show it was closed? Why were there several reports of other shooters dressed in camouflage in the woods that fled, of whom the police allegedly detained? Why were porta potties, sandwiches, and fruit drinks and chips brought up and set up for the crime scene in just an hour or so? Sandy Hook, it just goes on and on. An FBI crime stat which shows no murders occurred in Newtown in 2012. Why didn't they let paramedics and EMTs in the building? And 27 children were declared dead in 8 minutes. Why was Adam Lanz's home burned to the ground by the bank? Why have they declared all the records totally secret? These are questions the public has. They're the ones asking it. They're the ones demanding it. I've said I believe children did die there, but PR firms were involved, admittedly, hyping it up as much as possible, but there's been a cover-up, and Anderson Cooper got caught faking where his location was with blue screen. I mean, it's all there. We don't know what happened. I believe kids died, but the same media that's faking a bunch of other stuff and faking war propaganda is saying that I have said things that I never said that have been taken out of context, and now won't report when I'm saying don't air the interview on Father's Day to hurt fathers and demonize men, and that you edited me out of context and that I don't want it aired. Why won't they actually report on what I'm saying? I'm Alan Jones. This is the Info War. Coming up, Owen Schroyer in studio for the next 30 minutes. Then I'll be back in the studio coming up live. Please spread the word, because the truth lives at Infowars.com.
Now, do you remember a part of this video where Mr. Jones, and she's going to be advancing it to this part, was reading through this list? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Not true. Right? Number one, not true. Correct?
These are, I can't agree with, I mean, these are he's making a point that the Sandy Hook is, that Zero Hedge is actually reporting on what his questions are. I think that's the point that he's making here.
His means Jones.
Yes.
Why does the Sandy Hook school website traffic have 0 traffic for 4 years. That's not true. Right?
Correct, but that's his question that they won't report on.
Well, it's not a question, Ms. Karpova, it's a statement, right? If I was to say, Ms. Karpova, why do you steal from the school? Why do you steal? Why do you lie? Why do you cheat? Those are false statements, right? That's false. This is false. This is a false question, right?
Right.
Okay. False, right? Nobody dressed in camouflage fled into the woods, right?
The questions Alex Jones has,
And they're false. There were no shooters who dressed in camouflage. You can't answer why that happened if there were none, correct?
Objection asked.
She couldn't answer, so overruled.
Right? You can't answer the question why these people in camouflage fled into the woods if there were no people. There's no why answer if there were none. That's false, right?
well, the answer would have been, false reports that he's seen. I mean, you could still answer the question.
There's no false report. Mr. Jones says this. Camouflage fled into the woods. He just made it up, right?
No, but he's basing his question off the videos that he had seen.
What videos? Of somebody being in camouflage, fleeing into the woods?
Something like that, yes.
All right. Porta potties, sandwiches, fruits, chips, and drinks brought up inside the school. That's a lie. That's not true, right?
Again, that's a question that he has in his mind. The question is true because that's his question. I'm not sure. That's his question, and they're reporting on it.
Did you notice how I started to read this one right here? He started to go Sandy Hook fuck, and then he stopped, and then he highlighted the next one. Did you see that?
Alex Jones does that a lot. I don't think it means anything.
The Megyn Kelly interview aired, and then you understand, we've talked about this in your deposition, that a week later, there was a video with Owen Schroyer talking about Neil Huslin's statement that he held his boy after Sandy Hook. You know about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Top trend forecaster. But look at this article. It was on Infowars.com a few days ago that I read, I meant to cover, and then I heard Leanne McAdoo during the break. A lot of our radio ads aren't radio ads, they're just 1 minute little information news pieces. It's something we do. We just change things up. And I'd forgotten in the documents the CIA visited Lanza and reportedly recruited him about a year before the shooting. I mean, they bulldozed the house to get rid of it. I don't know what really happened with Sandy Hook, folks. We looked at all sides. We played devil's advocate from both sides. But, I mean, it's as phony as a $3 bill with the CNN doing fake newscasts with blue screens. And I mean, Nancy Grace got caught doing it, Anderson Cooper. I mean, that is just a crazy, that's the kind of stuff that I read on Infowars.com that I don't even get to.
So they were hearing Mr. Jones say that it's phony as a $3 bill, right?
That's an expression, yes.
During his programming, Mr. Jones would frequently switch gears midstream and start asking his audience to buy his products, right?
Are you talking about ads that he does?
Sure, in the middle of he's given news, and then just suddenly he'll just transition over and start selling products, right?
That's called a plug. That's what he does on a regular basis.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, okay? So let's look from that same video on October 26, 2017.
In 2017, he has his minion get up there from the CIA, Anderson Cooper, and say it never happened. Alex Jones made it up, despite the fact we have the clip. That shows how weak they are. They know they're exposed, so just tell bigger lies. Talk about Hitler and the big lie theory. And so that's why it's a revolutionary act to financially support this broadcast. And we've got specials that are ending in the next few days. 50% off Rainforest, just the known highest quality, healthy, organic compounds for healthy, more active, focused brain. 20% now and more in each bottle. We're doing 50% off, not because it's not selling. We sold so much of it, it's gotten so popular that I ordered the biggest order ever of it, so I could do it 50% off to see if my free market idea would work, to sell even more at lower prices, make you even happier, and fund ourselves to expand. A win-win. It's worked. I thought we had a 2-month supply. It it'll be sold out in a couple of weeks at this rate. So I've got to end the special in the next few days and then put it back to regular price until more comes in. That is going to end in the next few days. Secret 12, 40% off, about to end. Survival Shield X2, 40% off, about to end. BioTrue Selenium for mustard seed, strong formulation, 40% off. The new specials that will continue for a week or more. Anthroplex until they sell out, 50% off. That's the dry form of Super Male Vitality. And Super Male Vitality, 30% off.
Super Male Vitality activated. I'm here to save the poor innocent babies. Say hello to my little friends. Alex, you are a patriot and a hero. Super Look at those fake news gay frogs. Wow. Alex Jones, you are a tremendous warrior.
But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, it's all available at InfoWarsLive.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. As everyone now knows, the globalists are trying to shut down free speech worldwide, and they see InfoWars as the tip of the spear. George Soros groups are coming after us. They're suing us. They're lying about us. They're attacking us because they know we're not Nazi collaborator scumbags like they are. They know we're telling the truth, and they know politically we are kicking their asses. Now more than ever, spread links to articles and videos and information at newswars.com and infowars.com, and support us financially, getting high quality products so we can stand against the billionaire globalists that think America is a bunch of slaves that they control. I'm Alex Jones, and we've proven we can resist these criminals as long as you support us. So please fund our operation at InfoWarsStore.com and spread the links. It's a revolutionary act against these scumbags.
So InfoWars tells its audience that buying its products will help InfoWars fight back against the globalists who staged Sandy Hook. That's what they're telling them.
That's not what you said.
Well, we know when we talk about when he says the globalists, right? That's the billionaires who control and stage and enslave America under Alex Jones' view, right?
Part of
Right?
it.
Part of it, right. And when Mr. Jones said earlier, the people who did Sandy Hook, he's talking about the globalists, aren't he?
Well, this video.
When Mr. Jones said, when he said the people who did Sandy Hook, he was talking about the globalists.
You're talking about the ad. The ad.
I'm no Ms. Karpova. I'm talking about when we heard today Mr. Jones say the people who did Sandy Hook, he means the globalists.
Well, I previously told you earlier today that I didn't specifically know who he was referring to.
Okay. Now, we get to the end here. As the new year changes, we come into 2018, you understand that this suit was filed. Suit was filed against InfoWars based on all of the events we're talking about and Owen Shorter's video, everything. You know that happened in 2018. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Karpova, by my count, we've now seen something like 20 plus videos of your employer, Alex Jones, denying Sandy Hook ever happened. More importantly, denying the existence and death of their son, Jesse. That's correct?
I don't agree with that.
Okay. You are also aware of other videos where Mr. Jones tried to walk back these disgusting claims. You aware of those videos?
Every time he's questioning Sandy Hook, he's also saying that he doesn't know what happened. And some videos he says that he now believes that children were killed.
Right, and the reason he started late in this period to try, if you need to stand up here.
Yeah, I think you previously ruled that post-suit videos weren't coming in because they discussed the case.
I have not made that ruling. What we said was if you wanted to bring in, that was something different about last night. I don't remember that. Is it on the list? Is it?
I think it was discussed at the pretrial conference.
I'm sorry, what are we, I'm confused.
Let's do this. Let's wait until we have a question
Right.
or an exhibit, and then you can object if you think you have an objection.
In 2017 to 2018, even right before this suit was filed, Mr. Jones was trying to walk back some of his claims about Sandy Hook, right? Right?
I don't know what you mean by walk back.
It means he was trying to now say, as opposed to all those earlier videos that we saw where he said it was completely fake, totally synthetic. At first I thought they killed real kids. But I did deep research, and it didn't happen. He started to change his tune a little bit in late 2017 to 2018, didn't he? Tried to walk some of that back.
I don't think so. I think he's always wavered. He always said that he didn't know exactly what happened, but he was trying to get to the truth.
I'm not. You would think that some of the videos we saw today, he said he didn't know what happened.
Yes.
That's your testimony? Okay.
I did say that.
Now, the truth is, Ms. Karpova, the reason that he started to say some of these things and start to back off is because he was under threat of legal action, right?
I don't believe that.
And even after Mr. Jones walked it back, up until very, very recently, as we saw an opening statement, he was still saying it was a synthetic, wasn't he?
I believe throughout the years, he was wavering on the subject, not knowing what the truth was and trying to get to it the best he could.
What I'm asking you is in October of 2021, as we saw an opening statement, Mr. Jones kept on saying Sandy Hook is synthetic. Correct?
He also says, in my opinion, and he says that he doesn't know.
Have you seen that video? You know what video I'm talking about?
I
You weren't here for opening statement, right?
I was.
Oh, you were here for
not for an entire opening statement. I came in later.
Okay. So you saw that video in October 2021, then? Mr. Jones still saying it's synthetic, isn't he?
He has his definition of what he means by that.
Okay, Mr. Pope, I have no more questions for you.
All right. Mr. Reynolds?
So, you've been on the stand for a long time. We've discussed a variety of different issues, and I think that it would be best if we established first some time periods. So, can you tell the members of the jury when it was that you first began to work at InfoWars?
Late 2015.
So many of the videos and that we've watched and articles that we've looked at, they were produced and put out before you worked there?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Many of the videos that we, well, let me ask you this. Were you working at InfoWars or were you somewhere else in 2013 when some of the videos that we watched were produced?
I was not at InfoWars.
And in 2014, were you working at InfoWars or were you working somewhere else when those videos were produced?
Somewhere else.
And in 2015, what month did you say that you began?
October.
So prior to October 2015, were you working at InfoWars or were you working somewhere else?
I was working somewhere else.
Okay. Now, what was your first job at InfoWars?
I was hired as a sound engineer.
And were you living in Texas or were you living somewhere else before that?
I was living somewhere else.
And how did you hear about the job at InfoWars?
It was a long time, but I believe I overheard an ad. Alex was recruiting for more crew personnel, and he asked for to send in resumes with qualifications.
And so you were an InfoWars listener at the time?
I wouldn't say so, but I knew of Alex Jones.
And did you watch his programming on occasion?
On occasion, I would say.
And what was your general impression of his programming at the time?
Bombastic, a lot of information that I wasn't able to process because I had other jobs, other things to take care of. It's a 3-hour, 4-hour broadcast. It's just hard to keep up with everything that he's saying. That was my general impression.
Did you like the show?
I didn't dislike it.
Okay. Liked it enough to listen to it on occasion?
Yes.
So When you started there, how long did it take before you moved into production?
Well, as a sound engineer, I'm still considered part of production since I'm there during the show. I'm engineering the music, bumpers in and out. I'm hearing Alex between the breaks. If I'm needed for somewhere else to do something else, I would be, available to do that. So I'm sort of part in that atmosphere of production in the control room.
And did you have in a prior career in your education, do you have some experience in music and sound?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us about that?
Well, I grew up playing piano classically. I've always had passion for music. After I got out of the military, I was thinking, what should I do now? And I wanted to see, I kind of talked to myself and thought, what was it that I wanted to do? And I wanted to go back to my true passion, which is music, and figure out what I could do in that area. And I decided to become a music engineer. It was something up my alley. I really enjoyed it.
When you you got the job and you moved to Austin?
Correct.
And when you first started work, what was your impression of? Well, can you describe for the juries what the InfoWars studio is like? What does it look like?
Cameras, screens, very well taken care of, clean. Lots of lights. A lot of things going on at one time. Every day, people running around, people trying to give Alex what he's asked for. So it's a busy environment, I would say.
And how many hours a day is InfoWars producing content? At least when you started back in, I think you said October, is that correct?
Yes.
2015.
Let me think. I would say around 8-9 hours of content per day.
And how many days a week?
A lot of weeks, 7 days a week.
And now I'm going to ask you, in your role as corporate representative, has that been consistent since before the events that led to this lawsuit in 2012 occurred? In other words, was InfoWars back then also producing 8 or 9 hours of content per day?
You mean before I started?
Yeah, because I'm asking you as in the corporate role that's been imposed upon you.
Yes, that's been about the same.
And that's if we were to think about that, well, let's back up. Alex Jones, how many hours per day is he on the air?
At least 4 hours a day.
How many days a week?
On average, 7 days a week.
Okay. And so if we did some math, do you have an estimate of about how many hours he would be on the air in any given week?
Some weeks it's busier than others because during very busy times like the election, the midterms, he's on air 24/7. So it's very hard to estimate, but I would say it's a lot.
So if we did, 4 times, let's say 6, that would be 24 hours a week?
I would say so.
Plus there's other coverage as well.
Yes.
Now, we've gone through the videos, or at least clips from the videos in this case. And do you recall the years that they span? Feel free to look.
Videos on the list,
Yeah.
yes. Starting 2012 into 2017.
And based upon your knowledge of how many hours per week, per year, and about how many hours of video here, Is it fair to say that Alex Jones devoted more or less than 0.5% of the total time of InfoWars to coverage of Sandy Hook?
In my opinion, less.
Less than half of 1% of total air.
If I had to estimate, yes.
What are your job responsibilities now?
Well, to make it easy, I would put it, I would say, think of a general contractor. They're just responsible for making sure the people who are tasked with their job are doing their job. So I oversee that the production is started off right, that everything is technically going correctly during the broadcast, that Alex needs everything he needs. If I need to delegate something to happen, I will do that, but find the right person to complete that job. If something is required of me to do, I will do that as well. I coordinate guests.
Do you prepare a script for Mr. Jones?
Never, absolutely not.
Does anyone prepare a script for Mr. Jones?
Absolutely not.
Is there ever a script for any of his shows?
No.
Does anybody have really any idea what granularly is going to occur on the show?
No, not ever.
Is that, would you describe that as part of the appeal of the Alex Jones show?
Absolutely, I think that's why, and it was also part of my appeal why I tuned in the show on the rare occasions that I had before I started working there, and why I actually wanted to work there, because it seemed like just kind of a fun place where people aren't, their shoulders being looked over, and they're allowed to be creative, to express their opinion. What was the question? Sorry.
The question was whether it's part of the appeal of the show that it's unscripted.
Yes, I believe so very much. That's why people tune into, because it's so much different than a lot of the establishment media out there that people are used to.
Is the entire show devoted to mass casualty events and school shootings?
No, absolutely not.
Do you all cover UFOs?
I don't remember the last time we covered that, no.
But has Alex covered UFOs? And
Maybe occasionally.
how about David Icke's lizard people idea?
Alex makes fun of David for that.
And can you tell us some of the has he covered issues relating to the effect of groundwater on the breeding habits of frogs?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs.
Repeat that question?
Did he do a segment that talked about how the plastics that were in water were affecting the breeding habits of frogs so that they would not reproduce?
Yes, he's done segments on that, and they've become memes, very popular on the internet. So he's gone back to it and shown studies from Berkeley, videos from professors again from Berkeley University showing how the frogs have morphed their original sex and became the opposite sex due to the chemicals in the water.
And does he occasionally appear on his show in costume?
Yes.
And does he paint his face?
Yes.
And on occasion, does he act like a wrestler on his show?
Yes.
And rip his shirt?
Yes.
And do people find it amusing?
They do.
Would you say that everybody who tunes into the Alex Jones show tunes in because they love everything he has to say?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
As part of your job as a production assistant, have you had occasion to get to know members of Alex Jones's audience?
Yeah, we have people call in, make conversation with. A lot of people go to, if there's a rally or an event he goes to, his listeners go there too.
And does everybody who call in agree with everything that Alex says?
Objection, hearsay?
Sustained?
From a production standpoint, would you say that part of Alex's show is appealing to people who love to hate him?
Objection, leading, Your Honor.
I think you could do a better job not leading a witness who works for your client.
What would you say is, if you describe as a production person the type of audience that's out there, what different types of segments of people are watching the show or listening to it?
Well, I can tell you personally that a part of my duties is to take calls, and I hear it all. A lot of people call in, diehard Alex's fans. They want to contribute information. Alex can do nothing
Your Honor, we
wrong.
object to the hearsay of what these people are saying.
Without telling us what they said, can you just tell us generally what you understand from speaking to these people?
Correct. Some people love him. Some people
Your
genuinely
Honor,
hate him.
objection, it still calls for hearsay.
Yeah, I mean, let me just reread it. The answer is giving us hearsay, sustained.
Would you describe Alex's show more as radio or as television?
I would say both. It's very television driven because we do produce.
You have to speak up a little bit.
It's very television driven because we do produce imagery on screen, and it's a lot more interactive for the audience. Our guests come on via video, but I would also say that it's a radio show in itself also, yes.
How much of the content that's on InfoWars or that's Alex talks about, how much of that is self-produced, original journalism, and how much of it is just discussing things that are found on the internet or that are trending?
The vast majority is the latter.
And by the latter, you mean?
It's taken from other sources, current breaking news, articles, videos.
At some point, you were asked to be the corporate representative for InfoWars.
Yes,
And when was that?
about a year ago.
And do you recall, as part of that, being asked to review certain documents that had been turned over to the personal injury lawyers?
Your question was again?
Do you recall being asked to review the documents produced in this case?
Yes.
What did you understand that to mean?
I didn't exactly understand what it meant because the amount of documents is so vast. I was only pointed to specific documents to review.
When you say the amount of documents was vast, what do you give us a sense of scale, please?
I think millions of emails.
Do people email InfoWars, and I'm asking you as a corporate representative, do people email InfoWars frequently?
Every day.
About how many emails does InfoWars receive on a given day?
Thousands and thousands.
And was that as true in 2012 as it is today?
Yes.
And how many people work at InfoWars?
As an entire company?
Mm-hmm.
I believe between 50 and 80, just varies.
And how many of those people are tasked with reading this volume of emails that are coming in?
No one.
Of the emails that were turned over, were most of them opened or unopened by InfoWars staff?
Most of them were unopened.
You've been asked about a bunch of different documents earlier that had a label on the bottom. Do you know that to be what's called a Bates label?
I'm not sure what that means.
Okay. the series of digits on the bottom that Mr. Bankston described. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Now, some of those, if you look at the header, they do not have an InfoWars employee.
Objection leading, and I would ask at this point for an instruction so that Mr. Reynolds knows what leading is.
Sustained. Mr. Reynolds, you need to stop leading the witness. This is not an actual cross-examination.
Do you recall being asked about a plaintiff's exhibit 66?
Yes, I hear it. I have it right here.
Your Honor, I have a quick issue I was hoping I could approach on.
All right.
Very quickly.
Okay.
So Little Mark isn't happy that Daria estimated that there were millions of emails when actually there was only several 100,000. What a petty little shitbag. These personal injury lawyers really like to maximize every last penny, man.
Earlier, I asked you about how many emails had been produced. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that rather than millions, it was hundreds of thousands?
Yes.
I want to go back and talk about the time period between 2012 and 2013 and the type of coverage that InfoWars was giving at the time. Do you have your list of videos in front of you?
Yes.
I'm going to direct you to a video called Sandy Hook Second Shooter Cover-Up. It's December 19th, 2012. How many days after the shooting is that?
Five days?
Okay. We're going to play the video.
The whole exhibit?
Defense Exhibit 4, Your Honor.
Well, no defense exhibits have been admitted, so you're not playing that yet.
Your Honor, we...
No, it has not been admitted. We had a conversation at pretrial. No one was prepared, so you need to move to admit it. You might have an agreement, but I don't know about it, and it's not on the record.
Defense moves to admit Defense Exhibit 4.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor, the plaintiffs have their exhibits, but we object to hearsay on this one.
So do you object or not? Because you said no.
Yes, no, for our videos, we're okay. They're hearsay. I mean, we can use them against the party for hearsay, but this is an out-of-court statement of Alex Jones. You can't use it against us.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to get to go home 14 minutes early, and we're going to finish up this because all right. Thank you so much.
All right.
That means, Miss Barbola, you can go back down to the gallery. All right, everyone can sit down. All right. Let's roll back first. You wanted to raise an objection about, I think I don't know what it was. What was the objection?
Actually, Your Honor, can you allow me to consider that? I mean,
yes.
Let's table that for now.
All right. So now we have a conversation we should have had at pretrial. You want to admit some of the videos. I'm going to wait for the door to shut. And you want to object. So right now we just have defense 4.
Okay.
Okay?
So here would be my objection.
All right.
The first objection is that the video is hearsay. It's an out-of-court statement not being used against the party. Right? It's Jones and I'm using it. My exhibit's coming. He can't just put on extrajudicial statements of his client at length. Can't do that. My second objection is that you ordered us on March 10th to specifically identify any clips that we wanted to play from the videos. Partially this is because for reasons of optional completeness, I need to know what they're playing before and after. There's no clips. So now we just have this full video. When we got to pretrial, we made an agreement. And that agreement was, we don't have to discuss all these objections and all these things I'm talking to you about now. Because not only did he not provide me clips, but he made the agreement that day, and we made it again. But the only reason that defendants would be offering video evidence in this case is for optional completeness. As such, I have not had a chance to lodge any of the objections, or in fact, even review the things on defendant's exhibit list, because the only reasons I would ever think they would come in is if I offered something with a misleading statement, and he identified for you a specific statement in an unplayed part that needed to be played to make that fully understood. Now, without that, and now he's talking about adding them as substantive evidence, not only do I have the hearsay, but he violated your pretrial order. He's had my clips for months, and then I was under the impression we're only doing optional completeness. I almost certainly, if I need to go through these defense exhibits, I'm going to find loads of objectionable material, things that totally violate your orders. I was never offered any opportunity to do that, and you just totally violated your pretrial order.
All right.
I couldn't disagree more. I think that Attorney Bankston is being absolutely dishonest with the court.
Well, let's just focus on the issue.
Exhibit 31 is a summary of voluminous records that I agreed to because we agreed that they were all in evidence. That's what a summary of voluminous records is. Under the rules, the evidence, it has to be in evidence to be a summary. And
hey, take a seat, Junior.
Beyond that, we have an intentional infliction of emotional distress claim here, which is based on the coverage that InfoWars gave to Sandy Hook during the period between 2012 and 2018. And this is the coverage that InfoWars gave to Sandy Hook during that period. So it's absolutely important substantive evidence in the case that he already agreed to. It's also a business record of the company if you want me to go through that dance, but I don't think it's necessary given Mr. Bankston's earlier agreement that this was all in, and its importance is substantive evidence in the case.
All right. It is not the summary, what you're calling the summary, Plaintiff's Exhibit 31 was told to me is an agreed list of videos. So that is a very vague sentence. It doesn't say it's a summary exhibit. Maybe that was your understanding. Maybe that was your agreement. I don't know. It's not how it was presented to me. That's number one. You have an intentional infliction of emotional distress verdict, not claim. It's already been decided. So you don't get to defend against intentional infliction of emotional distress. You only get to defend against damages.
Your Honor, the videos themselves, plaintiffs have been playing them for a reason. Since the beginning of this case, I've been saying that during this period, we should just be focusing on the actual damages suffered by the plaintiffs. Instead, plaintiffs have chosen to play little clips from cherry-picked videos throughout this period. They agreed before that these would come in, and now I'm hearing for the first time that I can't put them in. They are relevant to showing the level of emotional distress that the jury can infer was caused by these publications.
I mean, if you did want to hear from me, Your Honor, if there was an agreement that I made, I think it would be put in front of you. I think there'd be a Rule 11. I emailed Mr. Reynal about these to say that that list of videos was just an agreed list of videos that were produced in this case. All right? I have certainly never agreed to the admission of any defense exhibits, and we went through, you'll remember, we went through at pre-trial what was admitted. All right? I'm very disturbed about the idea that they blatantly defied your order to designate what they were going to play, and that they have made the only agreement we have in open court, the only one, is that they will only offer evidence for optional completeness. I am fine with that. If they want to offer things in my case because they need to be to fully understand something that I misled, I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is now being told that now we're offering substantive evidence. That was never, that's what's in violation of the agreement in open court. And so not only do I think they are hearsay, and we can probably work and talk about that, because there's hearsay in hearsay in here, right? But the fact that they violated your pretrial order, the fact that I did everything you asked me to, you told us, show me what your substantive evidence is going to be. And I didn't get that. That's real disturbing to me, that they've had all my evidence for months.
Is this video one of the ones that you played part of today?
No.
It's not?
No.
And Your Honor, I'm hearing a lot about video clips. It's a 9-minute video. I'm going to play the whole thing. And beyond that, there is...
Well, here's why I asked you to exchange your exhibits before trial and be prepared at pre-trial to go through the list. And what I remember is that when I said, okay, let's go through the plaintiff's exhibits, we did that, and then I said, let's go through these, do you have them? And you didn't have them here. I didn't have a list from you at that time. You weren't ready to go through them. So the problem I have is, if we have a hearsay objection to Defense Exhibit 4, I have to look at it to make that decision. I can't do it in a vacuum where you tell me what you think it says and no. I have to look at it. So now I need the two of you to go through these exhibits and tell me where the hearsay is so that I can look at it before we bring the jury back.
You know what's challenging to me, Your Honor, is that because I was given the agreement that videos
Are you giving me new information, or are you just
No, I
trying to make a
can't
point?
identify for you in this exhibit or in 30 hours of the total videos. I can't identify the hearsay. I would have, absolutely, if he had not made the agreement that we're only going to plan for optional completeness. I would have done my work pre-trial. You know I would have. And I can't right now, sitting here before we bring that jury back in, or even by tomorrow morning to certainly get through all the videos. Because I would have done that had you not agreed in open court, I'm only playing them for optional completeness.
I never said that. Beyond that,
I mean, you did use the words optional completeness many, many times in pre-trial.
because I wanted to play them at the time, Your Honor, instead of having to wait till it was my turn. But now it's my turn, and the fact is, we didn't review their videos either. When we were talking about who had their exhibits, we were talking about paper exhibits.
No, we discussed the video exhibits as well,
We
and you
did.
agreed to them.
I agreed to them based on their representations, and we didn't review.
That's your choice.
But I'm saying, when Your Honor says I didn't bring them, I had the video exhibits. It was the paper exhibits that we were talking about.
Look, you're going to have to go through the videos that you want to admit and find out if there are any that can be admitted by agreement. If there are some, I'll just give you some guidance. If there are some that mention Sandy Hook, they're going to be admitted. If there are parts of videos from plaintiff's exhibit, video exhibit 1, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 23, 24, 27, 31, or 30 that you think are needed to show the context of the part we've already seen, then you need to prepare that. And the way you do that is you prepare the clip so it shows it, including the part Mr. Bankston showed us. That's how you do optional completeness. You do the whole thing together. So you're going to have to get that ready.
I understand, Your Honor. The videos I want to play are on Mr. Bankston's list.
But did he admit them?
But they're the Sandy Hook videos. They don't discuss other things.
This list, which list? We have like 8 lists.
Exhibit 31.
Okay, this is just a list of video names.
That were agreed to be the videos that discuss
They're
Sandy
not
Hook.
even all admitted.
That's what we're talking about now.
Right, and I'm giving you some guidance on how to get them admitted.
We'd offer them as the business records of.
Have you filed a business records affidavit?
I have a corporate representative on the stand.
So then you'll have to question her about them. Okay. And since all we heard from her today is that she doesn't know where to find the videos, she's never seen the videos, she doesn't think they keep the videos, they all got de-platformed, you're going to have a hard time with that. All right, anything else before we leave for the day?
I just wanted to make sure, clarify what I need to do for homework tonight. Do I need to figure out hearsay on all their exhibits?
I would talk to Mr. Raynal about what he is hoping to admit tomorrow and start there. We know D4.
Your Honor, I can bring up one quick issue.
I suppose.
Sorry to do it now. I want to be clear. All 4 of us are very proud of what we do. I'm a little tired of the personal injury lawyers stuff. It's a direct violation of Texas disciplinary rules, preamble, paragraph 4. I think it should stop.
I haven't heard it since opening. Has there
Just
been
did
more?
twice today.
Stop it.
Wow, these are the most sensitive personal injury lawyers I've ever encountered. I'm really not sure why it hurts their feelings so much or why the judge even bothered to say anything about it. It's 100% factual. The only reason personal injury lawyers get no respect is because they chase ambulances and exploit injured people. If anyone is responsible for the bad reputations of personal injury lawyers, it's the personal injury lawyers themselves. Come on, man. If you guys really want to destroy that stereotype, the best way is to be the exception to the rule, not the example. People love Lionel Hutz because they're laughing at you, not with you.
So you don't work on a contingency basis?
No. Money down. Oops, shouldn't have this Bar Association logo here either.
You're all terrible people, and you all know it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything else? I mean, that crosses very close to the line of a personal attack against another counsel, which you know we don't do in our courts, right?
Certainly.
You agree with me or you don't agree with me?
I agree. They are personal injury lawyers, but I won't call them.
Well, I mean, just...
They're dishonest.
That's irreversible.
That is
And we're on
a
the
violation of the
I
rules.
stood there with him and he agreed to these videos.
When, and was it on the record?
It was not on the record. I took him at his word as a Texas lawyer. I shouldn't.
So I can't. Do we need to? Oh, they've already left. Miss Ward and Miss Matchixfield, if you can tell the jury to not come in at 9 tomorrow, we clearly have more things to work out with just the attorneys. I don't know if they've already left. We might have to call them or send them in. I think I need both of you to spend the evening figuring out where you agree, where you don't agree, what you think you had an agreement on, both of you, what you think you had an agreement on, and rereading the standing order in limine in Travis County District Court cases, and rereading the Texas Code of Disciplinary, or whatever it's called, the Conduct Code, because if you're going to call other attorneys in my courtroom dishonest, you're going to have to back that up. For now, I'm going to assume this has been a rough day, and everyone's emotions are high, and you're never going to do it again, and we're going to move on. But I want everyone to do those 3 things tonight, in addition to what I asked you to do with the exhibits. You need to tell them which exhibits you're going to try to get introduced through this witness so that they can take a look at them tonight, and we will meet in the morning at 9 and go over all the exhibits before we bring the jury in. All right?
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Then, that's it for today. We're off the record. 7 hours and 31 minutes, Mr. Fangston. 2 hours and 10 minutes, Mr. Ray.
All rise.
First, what exhibits?
Please allow me to further insult these oversensitive personal injury lawyers for a moment. I mean, seriously, just take a look at this guy. I'm pretty sure I bought lumber from this guy at Home Depot once. He smelled like booze. Now watch little Mark wait for the judge to fully close the door before turning into the dick we all know he is. These personal injury lawyers also have their own YouTube channel where they have all the depositions from this case posted. But the funny part is, they've disabled the comments and likes on every one of them. It seems what they're doing isn't very popular with the masses, but I'm sure that's okay with them. Money is all they care about.
Money down.
So this video, technically, ended right after the judge left the room. But I found another separate video that continues for 1 minute longer.
Will you talk to me? Andina, will you talk to me?
How
Will
about
you
some
talk to
brutal
me?
honesty?
Will you talk to me? When we stood in that hallway, you said to me, are all your videos
I said
on
this is a summary exhibit, and we're agreeing to
Hey
all
guys,
of it.
hey guys, maybe now's not the time. Maybe we can cool off and I'm gonna have a phone call later.
Okay,
Yeah,
how
sounds
about,
like a good
how's
idea.
this? Can I talk to you for a second?
Anything you're gonna say to
No,
me-
no, I'm just,
I was gonna say
that way you can tell him, and then we're not gonna have a fight, and it'll be easy.
Mark, do you have his phone number?
I don't have.
We're having a fight right now.
Write your phone number down so we can get it, and we'll call you after everybody cools down a little bit on both sides.
I think it'll buy him. And I-
Exactly, which is why I tried to get you both to
No,
just
you
stop.
can give me your phone number, Federico. I don't want to talk to you anymore right now. Give me your phone number.
Write it down and we'll give you a call.
I'll text it to you.
You have my phone number?
I'll email it to you.
That'll work. We'll call you later.
All right.
Objection.
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 Liver and onions.
No. Money down. No.
money down.
But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. Thank you. Thanks for watching.